on the stream, but stream should now be up.
Box around your webcam thing now.
It's actually like quite a good setup I've got for this, because you can get like a free overlay. I'm assuming it's gonna stay free, and they might like, oh, you've been using it for 5 days, start paying for it. But like, for example, I've got that chat on. It doesn't look great. So, and if you're on Mumble, I'll just turn it off anyway. There we go, I've got that. Looks a bit better. But I could change a lot of things on the fly about this overlay. And there, I've not done anything in the program itself. This is just like the actual overlay. So you can see recent followers, donations, top donations, stuff like that. If I was actually, you know, a proper Twitch streamer, it would all appear. But obviously you can't actually change where it's like where it says donations, recent donations. You can't actually change any of those. It will always be donations. So it's like I'm not ever having donations, so you know, let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. And then you can't actually change that Twitch chat to be anything but the Twitch chat, even though it's just all IRC. So all I've taken from this template is the like a little purple box around the webcam. And I've got RIRC. I've done that like custom. You can tell how custom it is because of how the left side is cut off. Right, 1 sec. So come out of that. Come out of that.
Wider to.
Now, the thing is, I can't really put it wider because then it captures like too much. It's like I can have it. See, look, it captures like that white line that you'll presumably see in like 20 minutes. Really, what I need to do is get like a proper IRC client that I can properly customize and then actually bother customizing it.
I see, because the white line is sort of outside the.
Anyway, we won't be using IRC. We can get rid of it. Gone. Overlay's gone. Fuck. Get it back. There we go. The purple box is important. So anyway, if I was doing this professionally, I would say, all right, we'll cut all this for when I upload it to my premium YouTube channel. And I probably wouldn't call it YouTube. I would say YouTube, because I can pronounce things correctly, because I'm a professional streamer. And I would say, hello everybody, and welcome back to 80 Days. This is day 2 of 80 Days.
Day 2, but also day 40-something.
Day 40-something. We are on. We're on day 47. We are exactly on the international dateline. So can we look at our journey so far? Here we are, exactly on the international dateline. This is us in an airship just east of New Zealand. Now,
like airships, man.
It was some time ago that we last played this. Last time, we took an airship from Singapore to Batavia to Brisbane. Or did we? No, we took the airship from Colombo to Singapore. And there was a mutiny on board that airship. It was terrible. And the airship sunk to the bottom of the ocean, as if we were a bathysphere from the Bioshock series of games. This is a bit loud. Hold on. But we were rescued. Of course we were. And we carried on. We went from Singapore to Batavia, which was a Dutch port where the locals are in revolt against their Dutch masters. We found a Dutch submarine crew willing to take us all the way to Brisbane. Any of this ringing the bell?
Nope. Definitely should have remembered a submarine.
On I think it was at Batavia. They offered us a gem for £300. You can buy this gem for £300. Or no, it was in Singapore. We were offered a gem for £300. It's a mysterious gem.
I remember getting the mysterious gem.
We bought the mysterious gem, and we found that it would sell particularly well in Brisbane.
Oh yes, right.
It sold for £7,000 in Brisbane.
Brisbane, yeah.
We are loaded.
Okay. All right. The old gears are turning.
So, from Batavia to Brisbane, it was a submarine. We were offered the chance to dive in the Great Barrier Reef, and we turned that down because it's day 48 and we are exactly halfway around the world.
Yeah, we can't afford that much time.
So we are on an airship that is going directly to Lima in Peru, home of many Peruvian gyrocopters.
Yes. So that conversation choice we made on the very first day will not have been in vain.
Well, day 2.
Who was it who said that we would never ever end up going to South America?
That was me.
Yeah.
You're coming through a bit quiet, I think. Over mumble.
What?
You're coming through a bit quiet to me.
Oh yeah, I just need to move my mic. So do we still have the Atlantic timesheets?
We have in our possession. I'm not sure. I believe so. Because I can't check our possessions at the moment. You can see all the available routes. We can go from Belém. We can go from Rio de Janeiro across to Africa and Freetown and Dakar. If we wanted to, we could go from Caracas to Port-au-Prince. I assume we can go that way. And from Port-au-Prince, we could maybe go to Washington and New York. Remember, the objective is to get back to London, so even if we're coming into South America, it might even be worth going from, say, Lima to Panama City if we can, all the way up to New York, where we could go directly to London.
Right. Yeah, it might be best to do that rather than trying to cut through South America on land.
It could be, but
presumably fly over it in a Peruvian gyrocopter.
Oh, you're still really quiet for me. I don't know if it's quiet.
No, it's probably just my. I can switch microphone here. Give me a second. I got this new mic, which is supposed to be better. It just ends up everything comes out really quiet.
It was good yesterday.
Old one. Well, it's because I was like always making sure to hold it like close to me instead of just being lazy. Is it fine now? Like,
it's a bit louder. I'll try and figure out if I can do something with this. Nah, it's just volume full stop. I'll turn the volume down at least.
Huh.
Oh, that's enabled Google Analytics rather than anything else. Right.
Professional streaming.
There we go.
Brought to you by Google Analytics.
Yes. Fantastic sponsor. We have £11,609 thanks to Google Analytics. Without them, this round-the-world journey in 80 days would not be possible. So, our current trip, we are leaving from Brisbane on an airship, on the Great Airship, Trans-Pacific Airship. And there are 2 ladies on board, a Peruvian and a Spaniard.
And we are suave still, right? Or no, we're polished.
I'm not sure what we are. Let's wait and see if it comes up. We visited 16 cities. We've travelled 14,600 miles, mostly on airships. 7,500 miles by sea, 2,500 by land, 4,400 by air. And it's not actually telling us if we are suave, if we are courageous, if we are whatever. Oh, here we go.
Maybe we're just...
There we go. It's giving us... It popped up a bit of a... Day 3 slept rough in Paris because I forgot how hotels worked. On day 46 is when we arrived in Brisbane. So there are 2 ladies on board this airship. They both seem to be vying for Monsieur Phileas Fogg's attention. One is Marisol Esteban Carlos. She's the second who's come to chat to us. And last time I actually said, so you are the velvet glove following the iron hand.
That's a pretty good line.
It is a good line. I don't think it ended up well, but we can't save Scum around the world journey 80 days. Because I went part the way through this conversation and then quit.
Ah.
So you are the velvet glove I sighed in defeat. I submit as surely as the French people did to Napoleon. So the Madame cursed. Annabelle is a quick worker, I see. Did she mention you her husband was eaten by a bear? How wonderfully that dear girl lies. You are a very unlikely pair, are we? I have always thought us suited very well. But what of your friendship, I implored? Do not risk it in the pursuit of the same gentleman. Huh. Annabelle and I are ladies, not spitting cats. We will behave with graciousness, whoever wins the prize. It was very much implied that they are both chasing the affections of Monsieur Phileas Fogg, although it hasn't been confirmed, I feel, as of yet.
I mean, I assume that's what's going on.
I think as a suave, passionate man, Passepartout would say, L'amour is not a matter of competition. One does not pursue matters for such mere sport. So she's looking for an advantage to offset Annabelle's intelligence gathering. So we could tell her.
Intelligence gathering.
That's what it says, intelligence gathering. We could tell her his name is Phileas. We can say, I do not think I will help you out here. Or we can lie and say, hey, he has a sweet tooth. We can.
I don't think we should lie. I don't think we should get on these ladies' bad side.
So are we to reveal information about our master then?
Well, surely they already know his name, but perhaps not.
Maybe we'd say his name is Phileas, and they go, of course, I fucking know that, you twat. They wouldn't say that because they are gracious Spanish and Peruvian ladies. They would say it in Spanish. No, that's French.
Let's say I feel like we shouldn't play sides in this. I don't think we should pick a side in this game.
So we just say.
I think we should just observe.
I do not think I will, madame.
Yeah.
I said with great finality. No matter, she stood and adjusted her gloves. We Estebans fight most bravely when outgunned. Mild. I felt a wave of pity for my poor, unsuspecting master. It was bound to be a bloodbath. As we settled down for the night, I was struck by an unrelated thought. Monsieur Fogg, the dateline. I have altered our watch already, Monsieur Fogg replied calmly. Did you think I might forget? So we've passed the international dateline, so we had reached exactly halfway. Because
wait a minute. Wait. What? I don't think going around the world in 80 days. I don't think you get to subtract a day when you go across the international dateline.
No, it doesn't add a day on.
Well, no, we just went from 48 to 47, I think.
I thought we'd been on 47 since the start. I don't know. We had reached the point directly opposite Greenwich where the hours we had lost... Oh no, a whole extra day. Okay, yeah. No, apparently it's a whole extra day.
Huh.
We will converse with Marisol Passepartout. It is I. Tell me about Tabatinga. It's extortionate. But what about Tabatinga? To where do we actually want to go? Bogota in Colombia. The most efficient way to Bogota is through Panama City. How do we get to Panama City? Who knows? Tell us about Bogota. Oh my, is that the time? Goodbye. Gastown. Gastown. That's Vancouver. Gastown. Vancouver hasn't been properly founded yet, I think.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know too much about the history of Vancouver.
The day was quiet, suspiciously so. I grew rather nervous and agitated, waiting for the lady's first move, and Monsieur Fogg cast me several wary looks. Are you up to something, Passepartout? Non, monsieur? Or I merely think you should be wary, monsieur? Or I am up to seeing to your safety and comfort, monsieur.
Here, wait. I'm gonna wait for the the text to show up on the screen.
Because I do not
Okay.
understand your crazy French accent.
Let's tell him to be wary.
I merely think you should be wary, monsieur. Dangers abound on such long, lonely voyages. Strangely, Monsieur Fogg told me he would dress himself for dinner and insisted I retire to my rooms for a short rest, as he put it. I have sent my poor gentleman lamb unchaperoned into the lion's den.
Oh no.
I fear he will be gentleman mutton by morning. So we sail on the Catterkill, and we talk to more mademoiselles. Atlanta is connected to Miami by rail. That is good to know. I'd expect so. I expect there's no more cities between Atlanta and Miami on this map. Come on. Tell us how to get across. One can travel by river barge from Asuncion to Buenos Aires. We've got a few routes here. Is Atlanta really that far north? Wow.
It's in the northern part of Georgia, right?
There's Asuncion to Buenos Aires. We might be able to find a way from Buenos Aires across the ocean. Monsieur Fogg remained unconsumed. Madame Britain has told him the story of her bear-eaten husband, which had quite put him off his dinner. Evening came, and so we asked him either, "Are you quite well?" or we asked him, "What will you do this evening?" Do we inquire as to our master's well-being, or what he might be doing on this evening, if you will?
Let's see. You know, we don't have any reason to. You know, he's not. Or I think, what will you do this evening? Because it doesn't seem like he's in any real trouble yet.
Monsieur Fogg is a grown gentleman, he knows what he's doing, but I would quite like to know your plans for this evening. I think I have a headache. I will take my meals in my cabin. So, it either amused us to see him at 6s and 7s, which is a very English phrase I would have thought.
Yeah, I don't
and
even
not
know what
something
that
we-
means.
It's, dropping a few frames already, Jesus. At 6s and 7s means, it's a phrase I've picked up from football. Like, when a defence isn't doing so well, oh, the defence is at 6s and 7s.
I see.
As in, it's incohesive, not really working well together. I doubt that's what it actually means, because any phrase you pick up from football commentary is largely inaccurately used. So, instead we might have applauded his good sense and timing, or would it sadden us to see Monsieur Fogg so defeated? I think we'd just applaud his good sense.
Yeah. Yeah, he knows to get out of there.
Alas, I was seized upon by the mesdames outside the kitchen. My tray was too heavily laden to mount a swift retreat. He's quite a stickler, your master. Madame Britain pulled a cheroot from one of her many pockets and lit it, unconcerned by the muttered imprecations of the crew. But I am not daunted. But Madame, will you not abandon this pursuit? Or do we wish her luck? This is quite an involved melodrama.
Let's just wish them luck.
I wish you luck, I said cheerfully. And then we can be quite condescending immediately by saying, I think you're in sore need of it. You did not think it would be that easy, did you? I think is what we'd be more likely to say.
Yeah, I like that one.
I think I am going to very much enjoy defeating you. Melt! I retreated from the field with as much dignity as a man balancing a plateful of boiled liver could call up. What's the news? Fogg and Valet making good time so far in the Times. So this is, you know, national news in Britain. This journey round the world.
Of course.
We're not mentioned by name, though.
Well, we're not making great time.
Good time, but you know. Monsieur Fogg was lured out of his room by the promise of an evening musicale given by none other than Madame Esteban Carlos. So would we dissuade him from this course? I don't think so. We wouldn't dissuade our master from going to a musical, would we? Or would we?
Wait. What are the details? Oh, I see. But he's being taken there by the Madame Esteban. Let's see. Yeah, I think. Jeez. Let's try to dissuade him. I mean, we saw what happened the last time he ended up with one of the ladies.
So I decided to try and dissuade him from attending. With either reasoned arguments and exhortations, or by spilling tea all over his favourite cravat.
No, definitely no.
Hold on, I'm actually wearing a shirt today.
Don't spill tea on him, please. I think reasoned arguments. I think we would attempt to.
Right, sorry, I'll put my time
Also,
on
the stream is frozen for me, but I'll just refresh it.
There we go, I'm nearly wearing a tie properly. No, I've looked in the mirror, it's not nowhere near properly. It's not the right shirt for it, but you know, we're making an effort with a cravat. But anyway, we would surely use reasoned arguments.
Yeah.
They tired us out because they'd had no effect whatsoever. Passepartout, are you feeling unwell? You are behaving most erratically. Indeed, it was Madame Britton who played her hand that evening. She entered the room carrying a bowl of ripe, fresh, deliciously scarlet strawberries and sat in my master's eyeline. Let's
just sit back and enjoy.
I sat back to enjoy the evening's entertainments. Madame Esteban Carlos's playing was all but forgotten as Madame Britton took one strawberry from the bowl and bit languorously into it, a droplet of juice chasing down her chin. She ate the strawberries with thorough, focused indelicacy all through the performance.
Let's keep describing it. Her lips were
Her
stained.
lips were stained, glittering, a rosy pink, and her teeth glinted white against the red, ripe flesh of the fruit. Monsieur Fogg glanced in her direction, and I held my breath in fear, or almost smiled in anticipation.
Let's anticipate, because maybe he'll say something funny.
But he only regarded her for a moment, as if she were a specimen under glass. Then he handed her a pressed handkerchief.
Yes.
Madame Britton glared down at her empty bowl and wiped her mouth with unnecessary viciousness.
Let's glance at the other one.
So we glanced. Twitch is going quite well then. Not too far behind at all at the moment.
Well, but that's because you're taking the time to read it.
I suppose. I glanced at Madame Esteban Carlos, who was hiding a smile behind her music sheets, and I wondered if my master could be convinced into another, longer-lasting headache. The bloody hell.
Is this still going?
Submariner dies during surgery. Doctor blames complications. So, do you remember that bit of the storyline? We arrived at Brisbane, and with a submariner, one of the crew who took us there broken a leg.
No, I don't remember that at all.
Doctor said it needed to be amputated. She wanted a second opinion, so she gave us a notice to take to a paper that she thought was in this remote thing miles away. So we walked through the desert and the bush, We walked all the way, and it wasn't there. It was just a name. The actual office was at Brisbane, where we just left.
Ah.
So we managed to get a lift back. We talked to the person again, said we were honest, we lost the notice. But the offices are right here. So she took her notice in and, you know, it all ended well. And then she died.
No, no. Rip.
So it all ends well. Madame
Right.
Esteban Carlos set an easel down in front of my master on the observation deck. I must beg you to aid a lady in need, she said in a tone that sergeant majors often reserve for recalcitrant troops. I am at your service, madame, Monsieur Fogg replied with a bow. So would we try and muscle in on this, make sure that Fogg is not accosted by Madame Esteban Carlos? Or would we leave her be?
I don't think we really have to worry about Fogg at this point.
So
He's proven to be pretty, you know...
He's been proved to be pretty rich.
even-headed. Just give her a respectful nod. Well, actually, I don't like either of these options.
Yeah, because we've got a fedora. We could be tipping our fedora and saying
We
milady.
could tip the fedora. Or we can be a white knight. No, let's
No, it wouldn't-
let's do the respectful nod. Let's
We
tip
tipped
our
our
fedora.
we said milady, and we appealed to my master's terrible affliction of chivalry was a masterstroke. I am in desperate need of a man, Madame Esteban Carlos let that statement linger for a moment before adding, for my life drawing practice. We can steal her pencil,
Oh no.
we can watch on in detached amusement, or we can try and keep her busy by just keeping on talking to her. Which I imagine wouldn't really work.
No.
Just
I don't like the idea of I don't think we should be sabotaging it. I sort of like the idea of, you know, we tried to help our master before, tried to explain to him, you know, to not do anything here, and now we're just gonna watch.
So we watched as she adjusted the tilt of his chin and brushed the hair from the nape of his neck and made husky remarks about the nature of the light hitting his aquiline features just so. Monsieur Fogg did not so much as twitch as she sketched him for the next hour. Madame Esteban Carlos smiled triumphantly as she slid her completed drawing over to him. But was it an extra likeness? Was it an excellent likeness? Or was it almost too accurate?
Let's say almost too accurate. I like the idea that she's like really creepy.
She had not softened the sharpness of his gaze or smoothed the harshness away from his features. Monsieur Fogg looked at the reproduction for a long moment. I prefer photography, he remarked mildly, which caused her to break her pencil in apoplexy. You! She suddenly seemed to collect herself and smiled. But did she smile as though Monsieur Fogg was a firing squad? Or as though Monsieur Fogg was a snake she was trying to charm?
I mean, she's definitely trying to charm the snake here.
You are a very logical man. Monsieur Fogg arched a brow. An accurate observation, he remarked. Knowing when to regroup, when to retreat, Madame Carlos Esteban took her leave.
Why does this keep going?
So are we just gonna take, you know, like, we don't care now. We're not breathing a sigh of relief. No, Monsieur Fogg, you brought this on yourself.
Yeah.
Your execution was merely deferred, rather than stayed altogether. Hold on.
Yeah, there's definitely gonna be more.
We've got the sketch of Fogg now. We've got
Oh.
that picture in our bag.
Good thing we didn't stop it.
Yeah. If we ever end up, I think Marrakesh is that in Morocco, I think. It's in North Africa at least, so, you know, if we head up through North Africa, there we go. Extra money. Mesdames Brutin and Esteban Carlos did not approach Mr. Fogg at all the next day, but only glared thoughtfully at me over their plates of stew. I tipped my glass at them and my hat, said "miladies" and winked. Because we're not fucking shivering as though someone
No, we're
walked over
not
a group.
shivering.
They bristled and Madame Britain winked back at me. I had not known it was possible to wink at someone in fury. Fog's said to have crossed the date line, but will extra day be enough? We are very nearly there.
That doesn't, like, that's not how the international date line works, I think. I don't think you can just claim that you get an extra day, but...
Well, would the date not change? So instead of the second, it would be the first of the month.
I don't think they've been considering time zones. Fine. Maybe they have, and I've just been missing...
I don't think the game... Well, I think it's quite arbitrary. That it's just what the time is to us. It's not been saying, oh, this journey took however many hours, but... It's like, however many hours, and you are arriving at 10 o'clock, like, local time.
Sure. Okay, that's
I think
fair.
it's just not really... It's not simulating them, but it's not really acknowledging them in a way that it wouldn't make sense.
I got it.
Madame Bruton hissed at me furtively as I finished my breakfast and indicated that I should follow her. Passepartout, come here.
I don't really think we should follow her, but...
But should we instead give her a repressive stare?
Don't like that either.
So we're a good lad.
Can
we
just pretend that we didn't hear?
Well, we could pretend we didn't hear if we were going to give her a repressive stare. Otherwise, if that was what we were going to do without hearing it, because that's the only option there. I think we would comply.
What's your call here? Just follow her?
I think so.
All right.
What's she going to do? Stab us? You know?
Well, you say that.
My gentlemanly curiosity was aflame. What?
Whoa, hey.
What? Wait, what?
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 Wait a minute.
She led me into the pantry, which was empty as the crew was clearing away breakfast. You are proving to be a problem.
Whoa, what did we do?
So we can get into this, or we can just say, I'm not getting in your way. Which I think
I don't know, I mean...
Or we
saying
can,
we
like,
won't get in... Well...
Saying I will not get in your way, it kind of implies that we have so far, but equally...
Yeah. No,
the other option is getting into an argument. I feel. So where are we going?
I'd say you blame me for your own failings, because that's
Mademoiselle,
the more true
you
statement.
blame me for your own failings. I jeered.
Oh, well...
It is my
I didn't
master you
jeer.
cannot overcome. Then you will stay here for the rest of the day, quiet as a mouse. Will we? Will we stay in the pantry on our own, quiet
She's
as a
not
mouse?
our master.
I will not, madame. Surely, we're courageous. We're not going to be cowed by this woman.
Absolutely not.
I will not, madame, I cried, which was when she hit me over the head with a large sack of flour and locked me
shit.
into the pantry as I was
Jesus.
attempting to scramble back to my feet. Well, mad. I had no doubt the ladies would be defeated by Monsieur Fogg. Because this is, a fucking running battle.
That's pretty amazing.
I only had to wait them out. At least I had been in prison somewhere with plenty to eat. Oh, fuck now. It was Monsieur Fogg who came to release me. Just after dinner. Passepartout, how unexpected to find you in the pantry, he said with no trace of irony. I imagine you are quite tired and wish to retire immediately. I don't think we would. We would just be sitting in a fucking pantry all day. So rather than just, go along with it, I reckon we'd scrutinize his face for some sign as to what we should be doing.
Yeah.
So we looked for some sign of what had transpired with the mesdames, but he was as cool and remote as ever. Still, We were nearly at the coast. Oh,
Finally, this stupid soap opera will end.
Madame Britain and Madame Esteban Carlos both waved cheerfully at Monsieur Fogg, their arms interlinked as they disembarked the catechil. He did not glance in their direction. But did we give them a victorious salute, like John Cena? Or was that a blush staining my master's cheeks?
Oh no.
Oh no, they won.
I don't like the blush.
I think Monsieur Fogg is very kawaii.
Ooh, that is a good point.
I think that Monsieur Fogg is an anime that we must protect.
Alright.
Was that a blush staining my master's cheeks? We'll find out when I stop dropping frames. Because this is important. And this is something that needs to be heard on stream. Was that blush staining my master's cheeks? He caught my glance and gave me a sharp look. I am merely being courteous, Passepartout, he said. Rather defensively, I thought. A practice I would advise you to emulate.
Very.
There's some good dialogue here. Which one did you pay your courtesies to, I wonder? I beg your pardon, monsieur. Oh, I keep forgetting he's French. Tell me, how did you know to find me in the pantry?
I think that first one is a little too much. Yeah, let's ask him how he knew to find us in the pantry.
Really, Passepartout? Where else would you have been?
Obviously.
It must have been the elegant Peruvian. Or had Madame Britain's rough charms worked upon him? Had he? Surely not both of them.
Surely not both. Okay,
Surely not both of them. No, it was inconceivable, utterly scandalous. But they were all three smiling, a curious sort of smile. Apparently my master was quite the dark horse, at least when away from familiar shores.
Great, the payoff.
We have fucking landed in Lima. We're going to explore.
There's no time.
We do have a route to Panama City. As well as a route from Lima to Santiago. I browsed around, my ears opening, investigating the various ways in which we might continue. But first I went to the market to see if we could sell anything, and it doesn't look like it. What I will say is that we do have a complete Jungle Traveler set.
Yeah, but how long does it take to get through the jungle?
I don't know.
Like, I would worry that would be a huge time thing. Although I guess if we're flying around in Peruvian gyrocopters, then maybe we don't have to worry.
Right, so from here, we've got three choices essentially to go east. We've got Santiago, which doesn't really work. We've got Asuncion, which departs tomorrow for £460. There isn't a bank in Asuncion. From there, we can definitely get to Buenos Aires. You imagine we could get to Salvador or Rio de Janeiro. We could also go Tabatinga on the gyrocopter. That's around the same price, and gets us that's going in reasonably into the Amazon, I think. Or we could go right up to Panama City on another gyrocopter, which also departs tomorrow, which is a little cheaper and takes us right up into the Caribbean. Which I think we still have like the maps for.
I think heading up to the US is probably the.
So we don't.
It seems like the safest option. I want to say. I don't really like the idea of cutting across through the Amazon.
Not even with our jungle traveler kit.
I mean, we just don't know how long it would take to. How long is the journey to one past Machu Picchu?
Ah, sugar. I'm not at the screen where I can actually tell. And by the time I get to the screen, it will be on a time limit.
Ah, shoot.
We were invited to a glittering party hosted by Gibson Son, the leading English merchant house in Lima. They took a proprietorial interest in any newly arrived Englishman, and Bien Sur, their loyal valets. Gibson Son made their money in guano, that is bird shit.
Great.
I think bird shit is a bird chips,
Bird shit is definitely a suitable subject.
but it's rather dull compared to silver and gold.
True, true.
Hold on, Nero's on IRC.
On Mumble.
Excuse me. I'm a rather dull treasure compared to those mined by the Spanish conquistadors. And yet, it was all anybody could talk of. So we can fall in with waiting staff and cooks. They are kind of our people, our brethren, fellow servants. We can talk to social reformers about Peruvian debts, or artisans complaining of European textile imports.
I don't know, we did get into the whole revolution game back in what was it, Nice or Rome? Sorry.
It was Rome because it was it might be Nice. It was. So we were in.
No, I
both
think
of
it was
them.
Rome because remember Dubois. That was where we met Dubois. And
Yeah.
made some joke about him being a tourist because his name was French. He was
Yeah,
fighting
and
against the
then
Pope,
then he blew up
or he was
everyone,
fighting
and then we
for
liked
the
him.
Pope. Yeah, right. So let's talk to the social reformers. Let's stay involved in politics.
So
Although
all the
maybe that's a
loans
little risky.
are guaranteed by bird shit. A tall woman by the name of Madame Helt coughed. We have people rioting in streets. Unemployment is turning good people into criminals. But why are there riots? Because we're not authoritarian. We're not going to say riots must be contained.
Right.
And of course we're not going to just say why not just continue, because there's problems with that. That's what
Yeah.
we're talking about. Why are there riots? There are food shortages besides the unemployment. This is Madame Fuentes, who had been introduced as a guano heiress. Lima is a grand estate with creditors knocking at the door.
Guano heiress? That's great.
Heir to the guano empire. Occasionally we pop our heads out and throw guano like gold coins at them. You wouldn't run out of guano unless you were running out of birds. But could you not borrow gold coins or borrow money? You can, said Monsieur Salazar. We should be looking north rather than east. Haiti has promised us automata to excavate guano more efficiently.
Oh yes, I'm sure robots would do the job much better.
See, I feel like there's like quite a few good points here to be made. But I feel like if we say the Haitians make automata, and it will tell us about like the mad helicopter that goes straight to London from Haiti. It's not gonna happen, but you know, it might.
Right. Although I like this point about excavate versus extract is pretty funny.
So they make them after a fashion. wait, what? I didn't read ahead. And what Salazar means is that their automata drink blood.
What?
The United States of America has promised us money,
Excuse
Madame
me?
Fuentes. Excuse me? No, nobody's like batting an eyelid about their drinking blood. Madame Helt coughed and added another option. Or we could borrow from the Chinese banks. We use their labour enough. The debate raged on and on.
Let's converse with the servant.
I took the opportunity to converse with the servants who, after all, had their own opinions on Peru's future. The government makes all these new buildings and now a railway. There is no food to buy in the shop. How is that?
A railway, you say? I'm not actually seeing any options yet, but
The public works? Something to do with the budgets? Or those in government do not need to eat? We will be the vanguards of the
Stream is
worldwide.
sort of buffering.
What?
I'm having issues with the stream buffering, so. Let's see.
Yeah, there's no issues on my end right now. I have dropped 0.73% of frames.
It's something to do with budgets.
Budgets, fuck them, it's the government. I suggested vaguely. I do not understand it myself, but neither do I. The guano millionaires and the government don't care for the people who are starving. The people should rise up in revolution and seize the guano islands for themselves. That's what I'd say.
Is the guano.
Or do you think they should make an agreement with your richer neighbours? Or do you think they should borrow more money?
Socialize the guano islands.
People should seize the guano islands for themselves. That is what we would do if this was Paris. Hold the guano itself to ransom. The butler's eyes lit up. And when the government sends airships and cannon...
Uh-oh.
Options, shoot them down. Or perhaps I did not think it through. Aha, what was the French Revolution anyway? Oh, oh, oh. Or surely you have sympathetic captains of your own, who are men of the people.
Oh. So wait, so we're here like actually instigating armed revolt.
We're talking to a butler about armed revolt. As
Yeah,
to
but
whether
maybe this butler is secretly like the leader of the resistance.
maybe the butler will lead the socialist revolution in Peru.
Yeah.
So we should give him good advice like subvert the military.
Yeah.
Surely you have sympathetic captains of your own. It is an absurd notion, but this is an absurd situation. Oh, fucking hell. They gave each other significant looks. It seems I had set the cat amongst the guano-producing Peruvian pelicans. Soon after, I collected Monsieur Fogg and returned to our hotel, my head spinning with the political complexities of agriculture fertilizer in Peru. What a sentence. I am pleased to say that I did not dream of birds or their precious, nitrogen-rich excrements.
Good.
So we are wanting arrives Wednesday. Fucking hell, we don't want to really go through the Amazon. If we could get to
Yeah, 'cause
Panama
that's an
City by
extra
Tuesday.
day. Yeah, might as well just go to Panama City.
Right, we're gonna have to get rid of some luggage. I'd suggest getting rid of all the jungle stuff, just because we're not gonna go through a jungle now. I'd probably get rid of the sketch of fog, because we're not gonna go to Marrakesh. And that lets us keep the Panama hat.
Good, because we need the Panama hat in Panama City.
Oh, of course. The sketch of fog, gone. And we'll keep... Nah, we'll sell the machete because and we'll keep the pith helmet. Because I can't be bothered. Right, we shall embark on the gyrocopter to Panama City. Peruvian gyrocopters, here we go. We found a Peruvian woman who was making the journey to Panama City in an unsteady-looking gyrocopter. Still, once we had paid her a small fee to let us aboard, she seemed to know what she was doing, and had the craft in the air within a few rather heady moments. This is your craft? I live for the sky! At least I think that's what she said. She might have just said, oh, go fuck yourself, guy. Or something, I don't know. Times headline of day 55 in the 80 Days Challenge. Lima Guano Islands taken by force. French instigator blamed.
Yes, I knew it. I knew it. I told you this would happen.
Yeah, well, we're out of there by now. It's all good. We
So it's
saw.
good. We helped the people help themselves.
We did. Make a man revolt, and you give him freedom for a day. Teach a man to revolt, and you give him freedom for a lifetime.
I think that's how the saying goes.
That's how it goes. We soared through the air, looking down on the vast ocean on one hand, and the endless continent stretching away on the other. We really want to ask about routes onwards because we don't know anything about Panama City. And she shrugged. The fastest way out of this place is through Port-au-Prince, but getting there, that's something else. More headlines. Odyssey drinkers supplied by Europeans, reports. I can't remember anything about the Odyssey drinkers. The gyrocopter could not fly for several days at a time. In fact, it could barely manage several hours before it had to touch down and refuel. However, it did so using a large concave mirror and a piston of water, and whatever the effective valve was, it was extremely quick and we were airborne within the hour. I'm not sure how that would work. I was quite interested, but it didn't really explain it.
Yeah.
We arrived
I have no idea.
abruptly, circling twice over Panama City before dropping, rather like a dog sitting down. Our pilot patted me on the shoulder as we disembarked. Enjoy your rest of the time in this part of the world, she declared. There is much here to be wondered at. I thanked her, and she waved us on her way.
Don't insult the gyrocopter.
We're gonna have to explore before the day is out. And we can go from Panama all the way up Mexico to, that's Acapulco. Is that really it? Fucking hell. This could be bad.
Uh-oh.
Right, so Port-au-Prince is on the map there. There's apparently a way there, but we haven't found the route there. The only route we know of is Acapulco, which is going to take a fair amount of time to get there.
Yeah, and that's also now going through jungle, so...
Not that much jungle.
How come is that really the only place we can get to from Panama City?
That's the only route. Remember the pilot said we could get to Port-au-Prince, which from there we could presumably get to places like Nassau and up the east coast. But yeah, that would involve us presumably finding someone willing to take us. Panama City seemed a town perpetually on the edge of disaster. A great number of the inhabitants had emigrated to California during the gold rush 20 years ago. There was, I don't know, I think, hello.
Where are we?
We're in Panama City.
Cool.
Hold on. So we eventually made that arduous journey across the Pacific. The journey was fine, the flight was good, but the people,
Yeah.
And then in the end, Phileas Fogg fucked them both.
Ooh,
Yeah.
sexy.
He's pretty...
That's what we've surmised here.
It's the only thing that makes sense.
So in Lima, we had the choice whether to take a Peruvian gyrocopter to Panama City, or we'd start cutting through the Amazon. We chose to go to Panama City, but it's not looking good. So from Panama City, it looks like we can only go back west to Acapulco, and somebody has just sold a fucking trombone.
Savior.
So is there no chance there's just no chance of any other routes? Is that...
Well, we'll have to find one, and we'd have to get quite lucky, I think. So we'll see. Because there was certainly not gold in Panama. It was a nowhere town, so steeped in immigrant cultures and influences that it had no true character of its own. It felt precarious, and in some respects, unfinished. Of course, there was the canal. The French had bought the rights of construction from the Colombians, but quickly ceded those rights to the Haitians after disease decimated their engineering corps. Haitians now virtually ran the city with their foreign wealth, so the local rumour went, the blood drinking out of Vaudon machines they used to dig up the canal. We have to be
That's sort of
curious, because
terrifying.
otherwise we're going to fucking Acapulco.
Right.
In particular about the supposedly mystical machines. They were elephant-sized steam shovels, painted bright red and blue. Dyed rooster feathers adorned the boiler, and a single operator sat on the carriage to control the winch, boom and bucket. Great quantities of stone and dirt were being thrown into the air, undercut by the whistle of steam, escaping in the boiler's rumbling. As I watched, a tall, sharp-eyed fellow in a pinstripe suit glared at me. "Would you like to go to Port-au-Prince?" he said. "Yes, very much so." No, he didn't say that. He said, "Are you here to watch or are you here to work?" So we can introduce ourselves or just say I'm a visitor. We will say, "My name is Passepartout.
My name is Passepartout, yeah.
I'm here to work. Because work, you'll have to send me back to Heishi to train me. I'm Gesner, the crew leader, and I don't allow any watching on my dig site." He pointed to one of the steam shovels that drink blood. "Get in."
We're getting in. And
I
it's going to
complied.
drink our blood.
Without a second thought. Perhaps it was the authority in Gesner's voice. Perhaps I was rather too enamored of the enormous power of the steam shovel. "Gesner Jr. will lead you right," he pronounced with finality, caressing the bucket of the great machine. Did you... No, we can either probably insult him by saying, "You call your machine after your own name? Did you create him then? Or strange, was the machine alive after all?"
Create him then.
Yeah,
let's
that's
just
the one
indulge
sensible
him.
option.
Yeah.
"Did you create him then?" I confess myself impressed. "I designed all the steam shovels, but Fanchon gave them life. She's headed back to Haiti tomorrow morning. I don't know what I'll do without her."
Oh.
He
Alright,
nodded towards
shit.
a tall black woman who was checking the fuel barrels, occasionally dipping a finger in the Atari black substance and tasting it. But enough talk, time to dig. So we can either pick a random
dear.
lever and pull it, or we can look at them.
Random.
Well, I feel like if we just look at the levers, you might just kick us out. But we might randomly do one that's right, or we might just break it.
We are going to randomly pull a lever
Oh, no.
on a blood-sucking machine.
Oh shit.
Is that what we're doing? Is this what we're doing here?
If Solar's...
I can't decide.
I picked random, so go for it.
Alright. I guess that's what's happening. We're gonna
Fucking hell.
screw up. We're gonna screw up our
Fucking hell.
opportunity to get to Haiti.
I picked one at random and pulled, consigning my fate to luck. The winch squealed and began to raise the boom with a vibration that I could feel in my bones. After a few cautious experiments, I fell into a rhythm, raised the bucket, scooped the packed earth, unload and rumble forward. "You are a born excavator!" Gesner showered me with praise. "Are you sure that you have not done this before?" As I worked, I saw the woman called Fanchon move away from the site. If she was an artificer, perhaps she would be useful, but my shovel would not be stopped or slowed, and I worked until evening.
Oh. Alright, I guess the random lever was the right one to do.
Well, we still haven't unlocked a route yet.
Yeah, the route got away, I think.
Oh, because we were too good at shoveling?
Yeah. Because of my excellent choice.
Dang it.
It's gonna cost a massive amount, and it's just a carriage that goes to Acapulco. The cost itself isn't that big, but it's leaving in 3 days. So we'd be that'd leave us 20 days to get across all of America and back to London.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of time. You could say there's no time.
Right, let's go to the hotel. See if we can meet the woman overnight.
Ooh.
Ooh.
That evening I strolled the streets only to find myself face to face with Fanchon, the engineer Gesner had pointed out to me at the
Thank
works.
Yes.
"Ah, the visitor from France. Have you come to take back your canal? It will not be so easy." She raised her fists painfully. Bingo, madame. Or we can say, "I was told you are leaving town." Or I must ask, do the shovels really run on blood? I feel there's one good choice here,
There's really one good choice here, yeah.
and that is to ask, do the shovels
Do
really
the
run on
shovels
blood?
really run on blood? No.
No, we've got to say, I was told you were leaving town. I am indeed. I have a little craft of my own devising, but it needs a few parts. You know how these things are. So we can ask what kind of craft, or is it a fast craft?
Let's say what kind of craft?
What kind of craft?
Is it a Peruvian gyrocopter?
Yes, it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. What kind of craft? It's a kind of a bird, but she is, you might say, injured at the moment. My master and I are going around the world!
Yeah.
Is the only option,
No.
Yes.
I declared.
Why?
How exciting for you, she replied, though I do not think she meant it, and her eyes were moving away into the middle distance. Perhaps we could travel with you? Surely? There's other options, but you know, that option's there.
Play.
When your craft is repaired. She looked at me as though judging my character by inferring the way my parts fitted together. As I say, it will take some time to repair, or some manpower. Time and manpower, they are both realized by one thing. Name your price.
Name your price. We've got a ton of money.
Yeah. She named a figure and it made my eyes water slightly. Well, we can either ask our master, or it was not unfeasible. I don't think it's unfeasible.
No.
Hopefully.
There's no way.
We will consider it.
It's good to turn out it's like 11,000 pounds.
Very good. I'd bid her goodbye at least until we decided whether we could afford such help as hers. I made my way back to Mijor Fog, only to find myself accosted by a group of Panamian dynamite blasters. They were a mix of city boys and Shoko immigrants from the villages, united by their dislike of the Haitian digging crew.
Uh-oh.
They seemed keen to talk, knowing that we were experts on fomenting socialist revolution.
Well, I mean, it's true.
Hooray!
We are leaving
Nira,
Panama.
you weren't here for how we actually instigated the attack on the Guano Islands of Lima.
Oh.
Yeah, we were just chatting to some servants and said, maybe you should seize the means of production, and then they did.
That's how a revolution works.
That's how it worked. We are leaving Panama before our blood ends up in a vat. You should leave too if you have any sense.
Might ask where they're headed. It might open up a different route.
Where are you headed? Fucking hell. We are making for Tabatinga in the Amazonas.
Oh.
We may have some space for men of talent and determination.
That's a great line. Next time I'm out in Glasgow, I'm just going to suggest maybe you should seize the means of production.
That's right.
So, Tabatinga, all the way back down there. We might as well have just taken the gyrocopter. In fact, we could go all the way back down there. It arrives Monday. The gyrocopter from Lima would have arrived Sunday. We lose one day by doing that. If it comes
but
to
how
it.
much is the trip?
Wait, hold on. I can see the route to Port-au-Prince. Oh, fucking hell! How much do you think the route to
10,000.
Port-au-Prince is?
10,000.
Did you say 1,000?
I said 10,000.
10,000. Well,
10,001.
8,000.
Oh, jeez. What?
8,000.
What?
And that leaves us in Haiti.
Yeah, we still need to get across the
Haiti
Atlantic
with
somehow.
3,000 to get to, say, New York. And then New York to London. But it might be the most direct route back. We've got options here. And one option is Bogota. Maybe get into Caracas.
We do have a lot of money.
We do.
Like, this would only bring us down to what? We started 4,000?
Yep.
Yeah, but how much is the Atlantic trip gonna take?
We're
Given that we
5,000
know-
miles from home, lads.
Given that we already have those routes across the Atlantic,
Do we have stuff we could maybe sell in other places? I don't know how much we've got just now.
Not particularly. So we had a couple things we could sell in Marrakesh, but getting to Marrakesh is like, once we're there, we don't really need much money. We could fucking walk home from Marrakesh.
I don't know, Source, do you want to risk it? Try and get to New York?
Oof. Well, we did already sell our Jungle Travelers equipment. So
Yeah, we did.
I think we kind of gave up on
Because
the plan of
to get
going
to Panama,
through.
we couldn't carry any more than 3 bags.
Alright.
And we figured since we were going north, get rid of the jungle stuff.
I think when you got to Panama, Fogg said, a little thing popped up by Fogg saying you could sell stuff for money here.
We can have a little look just before it leaves in the morning. But I don't think...
I think we should go to Port-au-Prince.
Okay. I think all the stuff we have is part of sets
Okay.
that wouldn't really sell for much. It's like, no, this would sell for 7,000 in Panama. There's nothing like that.
Right, sure.
So these are the guys offering to take us to Tabatinga. So will we try to shake off the memory of their offer? Or would we consider their offer?
I mean, we are considering it now, so...
So the fiction follows the roleplay, and we considered their offer.
Yeah, exactly.
As I headed back to my lodgings, men who spent their days blasting through mountains could prove to be useful travel companions if we wish to head to the interior of this vast continent. So new routes discovered, it's showing us now: Bogota, Tabatinga, and Port-au-Prince. But for now, we're going to head... Oh no, we're not going to head to the hotel because it's overnight. Right, it's going to be 8,000 to get there. The market's going to open in a second. I am going to go right there. Is there anything good? No, there's nothing good. We could sell the travelling coat for a good sum, but you know, that's part of the set. Same with the evening jacket. We are going to depart before time runs out to Port-au-Prince.
Alright.
Right.
Oh, sugar, we do need to get rid of stuff.
Uh-oh.
And there's no time.
That's no time!
Panama hat is gone.
Oh no!
Southern Hemisphere is gone. Pith helmet is gone. We need the Atlantic timetable.
Hang on, where's our fedora?
Rest and recuperation gone.
Where's the
Shaving
fedora,
kit gone.
Mick?
Fedora's gone. The top hat will have to be enough. We
I
need
think
the
the top
Caribbean
hat will be
timetable.
enough.
Cold compress is gone. What we need are the bare necessities. We are just about there. We are on a fucking bird.
Like literally a bird?
The price was high, certainly, but we paid it. I hope you have a head for heights, Fanchon cautioned
Holy shit, it
merrily,
is literally a bird.
as
oh
we
my
climbed to a cliff top overlooking the city.
God. Okay, that bird thing makes it worth it.
I used to be an we literally used to be an acrobat. Wasn't that a story once? That we were in the circus?
Yes, it was.
I used to be an acrobat, I replied cheerfully. And your master? Do heights upset him? Nothing upsets him. Surely, because that's... They both say the same thing, but that sounds cooler.
Yeah.
We are badasses. Nothing upsets him, knowing that it was more or less true. Fanchon's conveyance was no airship or gyrocopter. It was shaped into an enormous bone and wood-winged bird. The bird swung its red-eyed head towards us, and I realized there was a living bird inside the grafted carapace.
Oh my god.
How does it work?
How
I
does
asked
it
hesitantly,
work? I want to know how it works.
examining
it's
the
gonna take our blood,
latticed
and we're dead.
exoskeleton extending the bird's wingspan to 15 feet. Fanchon shrugged. We threw the cases into the chest of the bird. I sat behind Fanchon, who spent most of the journey avoiding my questions about the creature's creation and workings.
So when does it drink our
Shout
blood?
Passepartout, the wind is strong! Port-au-Prince. We get from there to Dakar. No, let's talk about Port-au-Prince to Port Royal, Havana maybe. No, let's ask about Dakar just in case. Oh, sugar, I think I've mucked it up. Havana maybe. I don't care. Give us a route. Give us a route. We've got a route from Port-au-Prince. Oh, Port-au-Prince is a cross-Atlantic route. I don't know where it goes. It could be London. It's Ponta Delgada, which is an island in the Atlantic.
Ooh.
The wind whistled past my ears as the shocking blue of the Caribbean Sea spread out underneath us. I cannot deny that the creature was almost as fast as an airship and twice as maneuverable. We arrived in Port-au-Prince somewhat wind-ruffled and salt-sprayed, but otherwise intact.
Hooray!
Much poorer.
Some of our possessions would sell well here. Right, Ponta Delgada is again on a bird, but it is 7,200. We can't afford it.
Nope.
We can go from Port-au-Prince to Houston. Can we? New Orleans? No. We can go to Port Royal on the Hispaniola. Quite cheap, but that is a step backwards. Or we could go to Caracas. No, we couldn't. I think we either go to Port Royal or we go to it's Port Royal. We've got to go to Port Royal.
So
that's the game. It's Port Royal or nothing. Unless we wake up early enough to explore and find more routes, that is. Which we might be able to do. Haiti had the distinction of being the only nation in the world established as a result of a successful slave rebellion. Nearly 70 years before, the slaves and free people of colour of Saint-Dominique had revolted against their French masters. Perhaps one of my ancestors had been a slave or a slave owner. Pass for two, he's white with a moustache. It's more likely a slave owner, let's be honest.
more likely slave owner, unfortunately.
Here in one of France's other colonies, it was more than possible. The thought left me with a sense of deep unease. As for Haiti, the nation had progressed beyond anyone's wildest imaginings in the last 10 years, spreading its influence across South America and the Caribbean. It was a success story and a warning to those who would try and threaten Haiti's hard-won independence. Their living animal automatons, the Zanemoto, were functional, but also a formidable force. I watched iguanas ferrying messages throughout the city. Thin wings of wood and dyed feathers allowed them to fly short, darting distances. Instead of copper and iron, Haitian automata were made from organic materials: bone, bright coral, pale wood. I had never seen such creations till Fanchon's transport bird. It reminded me a little of the glass and metal graphs upon the soldiers in Rome, though the Haitians limited their augmentation to animals.
Augmentation? Now we've definitely
My bird is augmented. I looked for the Artificers Guild, but found no evidence of an outpost on Port-au-Prince. Surely the guild knew that Haiti was flouting its law. I would not leave Haiti without a Zanemoto. I wanted to know how they worked. Surely those rumours of Vodun and blood drinking were mere fantasy. I found a local shopkeeper, but he shook his head. I cannot sell my creatures to foreigners, but we do sell automoto, which have no living parts, if you want. So we can buy an automoto, we can attempt to steal a Zanemoto, or we can track down Fanchon, or we can give up this crazy scheme.
Track down Fanchon.
I tracked down Fanchon, who was no doubt the local equivalent of an artificer. But she shook her head. We only sell our full automoto to foreigners. We guard the secrets of creating true Zanemoto closely. Are they Vodun? I asked cautiously. Is that why you guard the secret? That's like asking, is an airship Catholic? We're a nation of ex-slaves surrounded by those who hate and fear us. Haiti's bounty is nature, not minerals or metals. We do what we must, but we use what we must to survive. so we can protest morality here, but it is not right, it is unnatural, or we can just say, I have no right. I have no right to say this, I've not been in your position.
I have no right. Yeah, because I don't think we can. Like, who cares?
I have no right to judge you, I admitted, feeling a flush stain my cheeks. My grandmother was owned by a Frenchman. She was property. I was born free. Do you think dogs regret domestication? Do they dream of being wolves? I do not know. She handed me a little bone and feather automoto in the shape of a palm chat bird. Go away, Passepartout. Forget about Zanimoto. Forget about Haiti. You do not belong here.
Well, we're definitely gonna keep the automoto.
Yeah, we're definitely going to take that. I returned to my lodgings with the palm chat automoto, a device of bone and feathers squirming in my hand, Fanchin's voice still ringing in my ears. We can quickly explore and still leave to that one place. Port-au-Prince! Our route is going north. Washington is that? Depart. To Washington, £250 on a hot air balloon. Magnifique. Are we going to Washington on a hot air balloon?
Yes.
Yes, we are. Departing in 58 minutes. Up and away. Oh, it's so slow. Have you crossed the open water before? Oh, that's me. Have you crossed the open water before? I asked, as we loaded our cases into the basket of the balloon, which was slowly inflating with heated air. The pilot, a young, bright-eyed man by the name of Etienne Lamorphe, shook his head. Short trips from island to island. Today, we try to beat the record.
Oh shit.
Hey!
I'm sure other balloons have traveled. What would you say? The world record?
The world record!
The world record?
The world record.
My
Yeah.
personal record. The balloon was lifting now, bouncing just a touch on the ground below. But is it the record for distance or the record for speed? We ask. You would fucking hope it is speed, because otherwise we're not sure if he's
yeah.
gonna go the distance.
Right.
Tell me it is the record for speed. But I'm in the air, he corrected, without a crash.
Oh no.
As he finished speaking, the
Weird.
It's
rope
like
fell
one of
away,
those just caused 3 records.
and we began to rise into the air. Let's
Well,
talk to this guy. Greetings, Monsieur Lamont. Tell me about Washington, and tell me how we can get to New York. Brilliant! We didn't even ask and he tells us. I'm on the
Nice.
Piedmont Airline. Washington to New York. Tell me about New York. They're building that thing on the island there, but listen, Port-au-Prince is magnificent, is it not? It truly is. Quite superb. Perhaps one day, Paris will be as grand too. How very dare you?
wow.
How very dare you come to... I am a guest in your airborne home, and you have fucking pissed me off today, because I fucking love Paris. It is great. Tell me more about Washington, you bastard. It's incredible.
Typical American.
We've got Ponta Delgada linked to London as well, but the fare is over £7,000. I don't think that's happening. We can ask him about London though, why not? The quickest way to London from here is to go via New York. What a plan.
Hey!
We've got loads of new routes. We've got the New Orleans to New York Railway that links up the East Coast. We've got Ponta Delgada to London. Truly the centre of the world. But the hot air balloon continues its journey, and as we left Port-au-Prince behind, I realised that worrying about our pilot's threats of crashes was pointless. Since there was... what? There was nothing but endless sea below is a reason to be worried.
That is a reason to be worried, yeah.
The only reason you're still alive after, you know, nearly dying under the sea,
Under the sea.
because there was nothing for us to crash into. It would take the height of idiocy for us to fall from the sky. I'll just let that simmer. Such were my cheerful thoughts as we followed the winds towards the distant coast of America. In a fucking hot air balloon. Alright, we're gonna care for fog at the moment, just to keep him up there. Up here in the heavens, there was nothing to do but think. We would soon be finished with our great journey. Though Europe was still 4,000 miles away, that was a distance we might close within the week, with luck. What had we
Hopefully.
learnt? After all we had seen, how could we return to daily life? Would Monsieur Fogg shrug everything off like a rain-soaked jacket? Would I? I caught Monsieur Fogg's eye at one point during the day and fancied I saw similar questions written there. Oh, surely not. Nothing more than a friendly face, seen in the random pattern of the clouds. Day 60, Monsieur Fogg murmured that night in his sleep. And still, some distance yet to travel. We might only be 2 journeys away, though.
Ooh. But we don't know how much the trip to London is going to cost.
There'll be a bank in New York.
Right.
Alright, yeah.
I am most concerned about our wallets. We are amply funded. Passepartout, you have been very shrewd with your decisions. The Monsieur Fogg, have you found anything about Washington or about New York? We can pick up rare and misprinted stamps in New York that will sell it for a fortune in Lisbon. Very good.
I love those stamps.
We were making good time, though no amount of speed was good enough for Monsieur Fogg. I had the sense the balloon could go faster and totally not tempt fate at all. We carried, it seemed, extra weight.
Chuck the guy out.
Uh-oh.
I went looking for it, hunting around the basket, and eventually noticed several extra ropes that appeared to have lashed something underneath us.
Who needs rope?
So do we ask the pilot about it? Or do we select the option, I could hardly climb under and see what they held?
Uh-oh.
There's a sensible option here. And there's a good option.
I think... Do we really want to
I don't
tempt
think
fate?
we're actually going to climb down and see what it is.
Oh, you don't think we're actually going to do that?
No.
Are
I
you
could
sure?
hardly climb under.
That's true. Okay. I mean, we could just ask the pilot.
Perhaps we should have. Because I could hardly climb under, so I left the matter at that.
Aw.
Evening came, and we were making good progress. The coast of North America joined us like a following flock of birds. In the news today, the Artificers Guild urges a Haitian embargo. We had been carefully following the coast for the last few hours as our pilots scanned for the perfect spot on which to set the balloon down. Finally, Etienne pointed. There! Sure enough, someone had marked a large white circle on a flagstone patio. We have a choice here. You have a friend waiting for you, or can you hit such a small target? I don't know, is that insulting?
Yeah, I don't know.
Can you hit such a small target? I like that.
Can you hit such a small target, I asked, concerned about our speed. With immense skill, he began to release air from the balloon and lowered us to ground. As we stepped from the craft, Etienne unfastened the ropes I had seen the day before, and a barrel fell from a space under the gondola. A small boy climbed out, raised a hand in salute, and dashed away.
What?
Do we ask who it was?
Yeah.
Who was that? Not everyone is welcome in America, but I brought his father over on my last trip, so it seemed only fair.
Ah.
He's a good lad.
Aw.
The top had Cadarn as well here.
Oh, he's a people smuggler. Ah.
Jeez.
So the New York line leaves tomorrow.
Obviously, that's where we're going.
Yes.
We don't have any other choice.
Do we have anything that sells well? No. Imagine if it's like... Because it's 7 p.m. We can't do anything more in Washington. We'll leave for New York tomorrow. Imagine if it's like £3,000 for the transatlantic, whatever.
Oh, jeez.
I think we
Well,
have
we'll
time.
just
We've
have
got
to sell
18
all of our
days.
stuff.
We will pass the night here. People were somewhat wary of Monsieur Fogg as we roamed the streets of Washington. Several buildings had not yet been rebuilt since the burning of the city by English forces in 1812.
Like 60 years later?
I could understand it, remembering the terrible feeling of being under attack from my own time enduring the siege of Paris. Still, not everyone was cold. A few people were out to make a quick buck, as seems to be typical for the treatment of tourists worldwide. Do you want the full tour, gentlemen? Asked... No, sorry. Do you want the full tour, gentlemen? Asked Hank Hinberry, a man with smooth dark skin and a fine leather jacket, who strolled up to us as though we were cowboys on his main street
I like being a cowboy.
at the strike of high noon. So I know the train leaves at like afternoon time. So we can say we are... Well, we don't have much choice. We are not staying, we are not visiting, or we are looking to leave as fast as possible.
We're looking to leave as fast as possible.
Leave? Well, where to now? You haven't seen what this place has to offer.
It's a dump.
Oh.
And what does this place have to offer? Everything, he said, turning French. Everything. Tell me now,
Aw.
what's your poison? We can say cognac, gambling, transportation, or we are quite unaccustomed to being poisoned. Which I feel is the one true option.
Yeah, that's the only option that is
Well,
any
we are
good.
quite unaccustomed to being poisoned, I replied archly. And he laughed some. Well, now, if you're unaccustomed to it, then you should follow me. He slapped me on the back. Here, we make bourbon, and it's the best drink known to mankind.
Bourbon's pretty good.
So do we follow him then? Or do we shake our head?
Or
Or do we let Fogg decide?
Let the fog decide.
Let the fog decide.
I looked to my master, who seemed indifferent. He's no help. What do we do?
God damn it, fog.
I mean, I just worry about getting into some kind of trouble. We don't need any delays.
What could go wrong? You're going to drink heavily before a transatlantic flight.
Right.
Did you follow him? It's bourbon. It's
Well.
poisonous, apparently. And that is something you are quite unaccustomed to.
Right. Nero, do you have any thoughts?
We follow him.
All right, I guess we're following him.
We
We're gonna
followed
regret
him. He led us down a side alley
it. Uh-oh.
and through a low, unmarked doorway. My master looked skeptical. I can only say I had a good feeling about our Monsieur Hank Hinberry that led me to trust him. A feeling
Yeah.
that was soon to be validated. Hank
Yes.
stepped inside, then turned. If you wouldn't mind removing your hats, gentlemen. So we've got three options here. Option 1, that should have warned me. Option 3, it was all too curious. Curious. Option 2, we doffed them as requested.
Doffed them.
Doffed.
You've got to doff a hat. We doffed our hats and Hank smiled and let us inside. The room was not as dark as I expected. For a drinking den, a group of people sat in a circle.
Oh shit, it's gonna be like opium.
It's like they're all either seemingly asleep or with their heads down or all hatless. I'd say the one option there seems less threatening than the other two.
They were all hatless.
They were all hatless.
They were all hatless. There was no music, no bar, no cards. Welcome, gentlemen. Take a seat. We are here to drown your sorrows in the drink of faith.
Oh, god damn it.
Oh, shit.
I do not understand. Or did the truth of our circumstance dawn on you? Or was it a most curious place indeed?
It was the most curious place
It's
to be.
the most curious place. Yeah, I like that one.
And not at all what I had expected from Monsieur Himbre. One of the unbehatted number looked up and smiled and gestured to Monsieur Fogg, patting the
Unbehatted.
seat next to him. What could he do? His gallantry forbade him to decline the invitation. Hank led me to another chair. We were praying, Monsieur. Won't you join us? Do you sit
Maybe
down,
God
or do
will
you
help the
profess
journey.
your Catholic upbringing?
Well, we could pray for a good journey, you know, ahead, right?
I sat down, not quite sure what to expect. Monsieur Fogg was already accepting a Bible from the lady next to him. Our particular mode of worship is to sing our hearts out to the Lord. If you don't know the words, that's no problem. You'll feel them from your heart soon enough, I'm sure.
Start speaking in tongues.
I will not try to describe what followed, or you can, I expect, imagine the reaction this news elicited from Monsieur Fogg.
I think Monsieur Fogg is horrified.
He gave no outward sign, of course. He was a stoic in the face of congregational singing, as he was in the face of an exploding airship. But I, who knew him well, could see a note of true fear entering his eyes. To be devout is one thing, but to sing? But there was no way out. We had been trapped most effectively. Monsieur
no.
Fogg began with a mumble, but the lady to his right
A
patted his
mumble, you
hand
say?
and told him not to be shy. As ever, he could not say no. He opened his mouth and he sang, if one can call it that. His
Oh.
mouth opened wide, his eyes closed, and there issued a noise like a foghorn splitting a heavy sea mist,
Hey!
low, booming, and thoroughly toneless.
Okay.
Of course you would
Spectacle
have
shivered
sound
on
like
noses. It was a
foghorn.
truly revelatory experience. After the service, there was tea and pie, which I found somewhat restorative. And finally,
Hooray!
we were allowed to leave. Remember what you have witnessed here today, Hank called us as we bid him farewell. Oh, believe me, monsieur, we shall. Then we hurried our way with a Bible pressed into our hands as we left. I looked to my master, and I believe he was shivering. I
Oh
do not
dear.
feel quite well, Passepartout. Not well at all. So we can depart for New York immediately on the most
We just
comfortable...
need to get out as fast as possible.
on the Piedmont Airline. We boarded the train and settled ourselves in for the short ride to New York City.
Place.
And we are talking to Mr. the Guard. Tell us about New York. New York to London. London to Quebec. Sure.
Sure.
Do you
yeah.
play football? Of course I play football. I'm trying to start a league back home. Nice to hear. Tell me about New York. Tell me about Ottawa, Canada. Because we know the route we want to take. It's like I'm just mucking about at the moment. We're talking about fucking Winnipeg just now.
Hooray!
Who gives a shit about
Hey.
Winnipeg? Evidently, this fucking guy.
Chris Jericho cares about Winnipeg.
The Piedmont Airline. The journey was brief. The Atlantic flashed in the sunshine, beckoning us onwards. We were so close to home, but could we cross in 17 days? I mean, yeah, surely.
I would hope so.
Oh.
Boned. Are we boned? Alright. Have to get money from the bank,
We
right?
can-
Right?
Right.
We're cashing in.
Or we could go to
our money
Reykjavik.
in the bank.
We can leave for Reykjavik tomorrow,
Hmm.
but there's
But it
no
arrives
luggage,
Saturday.
and it's the ice wind, which looks to me like it's just like
Like an airship.
a missile.
Oh jeez.
Yeah,
No, I
fast.
don't think we should do that. I think that's a bad idea.
It's fast though.
Is
Right.
We'll be in London by tomorrow. It'll be great.
So we've got a choice here. We've got £2,700. To New York, it's 5,000. It's going to take a while to get that kind of money. To get to London, it's going to take like an extra. We've got to double our money essentially. The bank in New York might be able to do that, but it might take like, up to a week. We could find out in the morning for sure.
Well, we could also sell whatever crap we don't need as well.
We can
I mean, we
leave for
could go to-
Reykjavik tomorrow, and that would leave us with 2,000 for the journey from Reykjavik to London.
Which would probably cover it, you'd hope.
You'd hope.
Let's see. Well, when does it leave? Okay, tomorrow at 2 p.m.
Yeah.
Can we wait? Can we go to the next day and then see how long it'll take to get money from the bank?
We should be able to do that, yep.
Okay, yeah, that's
What we will have
seems
to do
sensible.
is sell all our stuff before we go to Reykjavik, though,
Right.
because there's no bags there.
Right. But and we're gonna lose a lot of health on that trip.
I was pickpocketed in New York.
Oh shit.
I waited, intending to pounce upon the departing figure, because I'm good at pouncing.
Great,
I
we just
brought the
needed-
little thief to
Yes.
the floor with a clatter. The little thief looked up at me with thick lashed eyes. I realised belatedly that the thief was a young girl, barely 10. I'm not sure why I was surprised. This literally happens everywhere I go. I released my grip slightly and she took the opportunity to curse in a thick Irish accent and bite me. "Piss on me eyes," she said.
God damn it, Seamus.
I held on, despite the inconvenience, and finally she grinned at me, teeth stained with my precious life's blood. "Are you done, little vampire?"
That's
Oh
not
no,
very
what's
sanitary.
it to you? That's not an Irish accent at all, is it? I looked down at my bloody arm. Truly, it was a salutary lesson not to let my guard down in strange climes. "Don't steal again," I commanded sternly as she returned my possessions. She agreed she would not ever again. Across her heart, though her expression was shifty.
Hey.
I relaxed my grip and she slithered away and lost herself in the crowd. I made my way back to our hotel before anything more untoward could befall my delicate person.
Delicate. Please.
Right. The bank opens at 11. The market opens at 7. I'll get rid of most of our stuff at the market anyway as soon as it opens.
Don't get rid of the... Wait. You have to get rid of the Atlantic timetable?
That could be a problem.
That could be a problem. Maybe we don't want to do the Reykjavik. Build our automoto.
Wait, do we lose the roots if we sell that?
Yes, we do.
It's a video game, of course we do.
You could sell the Caribbean one, though.
Right. We can't find any more routes.
Oh wait, we could buy a gun.
Go to the bank.
We will
well-
miss today's flight to Iceland. Gotta make a choice. There's no time. Now, I think we're right out of time, actually. I can't actually empty our case like quick
Oh,
enough.
okay.
There was no time.
We can get 3,000 in 3 days.
How much is the transatlantic?
We need 3,000.
Well, let's go for it then.
Well, we're here anyway.
Yeah. I would hope that then we would still have enough time because it's only like a few days to get across.
Yeah, we've got time.
So we're just gonna hang out in New York City.
Yeah, and hopefully not get pickpocketed and
Buy
shit.
the gun! Oh, no,
Buy the
we
gun.
need money.
Right, we've still got Air Traveller, Gentleman Traveller, and Englishman's Wardrobe. We've still got the Atlantic timetable as well, and that is all we have. We're gonna need to get rid of like quite a lot of it. Like, we'll get rid of the... We'll get rid of the Gentleman Traveller set, I think. No, we won't. We'll get rid of the Air Trap. We might get rid of... We might have to get rid of both. I'm making sure the Atlantic timetable is in our first case.
Why do we need to get rid of all of this?
Because, well, we might have to. Because, the thing to London. It's like only one case and we might not be able to buy more room. So all we have to do is not lose $600 by staying in New York for a little while.
Okay.
To the hotel then. We'll pass the night here. We passed an anxious night with our 80-day deadline looming. Every sunset seemed to carry extra weight. We had another 2 days to wait for our transfer of funds. So we made ourselves comfortable and waited, because we know what we're doing. We've decided
you
what
realize
we're doing.
it's costing money each day we stay. Really do not have that much extra money.
Yeah, that's why I didn't buy the gun.
Otherwise you would have bought the gun.
Yeah. The wait this close to our deadline was nerve-wracking. We woke, ready to be at the bank as soon as it opened its doors. That's good, it skipped right to that day. Funds at 11, funds at 11.
Oh, it did. Wow, awesome.
Back. Like I'm playing Weakest Link. Come on. Funds are ready. The manager wished us well. Can we depart today? Imagine if the cost goes up. We can leave tomorrow.
Okay,
Okay.
Arrives Wednesday.
doing it.
One more day in New York. Oops. We're gonna wait in the hotel again. We're not gonna venture out.
Oh, it's too dangerous.
Another night and the clock was forever ticking upwards. I spent a few hours polishing shoes in the lobby because fucking hell if we run out of funds now. Before turning in for the night I earned £109 and that offset the cost of the hotel for the night.
Good. That's a lot
And
of
we are
money
ready to take the
make in-
Henrietta to London.
I
We
feel
are
like that's a
on the
lot
way.
of money to make in a few hours.
We left New York aboard the Henrietta, an old Confederate airship converted to transatlantic mail carrier. We would reach London in 3 days, barring any unexpected delay. Congratulations, guys, we did it. We might as well just call it here, because what could possibly go wrong
Oh no.
in a video game?
No.
What's the news? Adventurer Fogg expected back shortly.
Gonna be attacked
We are
by
past
sky
Massachusetts,
pirates.
hovering over Newfoundland. The ocean tore along beneath us. I enjoyed talking to no one. There was nothing I needed to know. No one to charm, flatter or beguile into giving us aid. There was only the wind and the time, and we could control neither. Passepartout, my master demanded. Make us go faster, if you would. So we could either approach the captain, we could talk to the boiler attendant, or we could ignore that advice. I know what I would do in this situation.
I mean, what would you do?
I'm not telling you.
Uh,
I've not been in this exact situation before, but I can imagine what's going to happen.
I feel like if we do anything, we might cause trouble.
Yeah, I don't want to mess things up.
So, but we might lose. We
I
might
feel if we
lose
talk to the
relationship
captain-
points.
I've never been in this situation before, so it's not really spoilers at all. But I feel if we talk to the captain, nothing will happen.
Back to the boiler
we go-
attendant. Then we
can we
might
go
make something
faster? No.
explode.
Can we go to the boiler attendant? He'll probably like shovel more in, and it will fuck up. Or we can
So-
ignore his advice. Relationship will go down slightly, and then it'll be fine. Because we're gonna be 80 days.
Yeah, yeah.
If this
ignore
goes
his
as planned.
advice. Come on, please.
We're just ignoring him.
Yeah.
There's only
Fuck
the
off.
wind and the ocean. I ignored his advice. What was the use? We were home and dry already.
That makes it seem like a bad choice.
We are in the middle of the Atlantic. We are that close on day 69. Monsieur Fogg looked out of the observation deck windows with perfect calm, and there was no reason to be concerned. We were safely within our 80-day window. I could not wait to stride into the Reform Club and claim our prize. I spent the remaining time either watching every possible danger, embarking on the writing of this account, or ironing.
Well, obviously we need to write this down.
Writing it all down. Though I found already the details of our early adventures had grown vague and indistinct, especially
Oh,
when
yeah.
we went to Brisbane.
Yeah.
I might have been drunk. With the Henrietta soldiers on, we are over Ireland. We're over Wales. We are approaching London. We tethered at the airship dock in Hyde Park and felt, for the first time in 70 days, the feel of English soil beneath our shoes. At long last, we had returned to London and in time to win the wager.
Did it. We're winners. And now we get
There's
assassinated.
one thing left to do,
Yeah.
and that is click return. I seized my master by the collar and threw him into one of the steam carriages idling on the banks of the Serpentine in Hyde Park. To the Reform Club, I shouted. There's some good options here. Throwing £50 at the driver as inducement to speed. Or telling the driver we were on urgent business for Her Majesty the Queen. Or before ejecting the driver from his seat and taking the wheel myself.
I think they're all bad. Just take a normal.
Can we just throw money at him?
I mean, we could.
Well,
but we could
for-
also steal his car.
We can also steal his car. No, I don't think.
We don't need to
We
commit
don't-
theft right at the end.
We don't need to like. Yeah. No, let's just throw money at the problem.
We'll have another 50 when we arrive. Now drive. There is no such need for such unseemly haste, Passepartout, my master noted, but I was a man possessed. The streets of London seemed comforting and familiar as they flashed past my well-travelled eyes. The carriages were mostly horse-drawn, and gas lamps rather than electricity lit our way as we raced down Pall Mall. The carriage barely shuddered to a steam-hissing stop before I dragged my master from his seat and up the steps to the imposing doors of the Reform Club. I released him only when we reached the great saloon, where either my master's erstwhile friends or my master's 5 antagonists were presumably waiting.
Uh-oh.
Antagonists or friends? Who sent us on this voyage?
Antagonist is cooler.
Yeah, let's do antagonists.
My master's 5 antagonists stood from
We
their
didn't
chairs,
bring a gun.
Oh
gaping
no!
in an attitude of great shock. Monsieur Fogg only straightened a little and said in his calm voice, "Gentlemen, here I am." The room erupted into cheers.
Where did the crowd come from?
And where'd the crowd come from? Have they followed us inside from the street? I'd scarcely noticed them, I realised, as though a spell had finally broken that we had succeeded, or had my master won his wager?
We had succeeded.
We
I think.
succeeded. A winner
We had
is us.
succeeded.
Because really, we did all the work.
And my master had won £20,000. With the 4,000 we
Jeez.
began with, the debt built up from banks along the way, and our remaining funds, it was a profit of over 12,000. Hardly a meagre sum. My heart began to beat again, and I saw for the first time the crowds who had forced their way into the club, or the grand interiors of the Reform Club. Because remember, you're a manservant, you've never been in this club before.
I was gonna go with grand interiors.
The grand interiors of the Reform Club, which I have no doubt remained untouched since its founding some 30 odd years ago. The most advanced piece of technology within was a gilded clock set upon the mantelpiece. A few club members were muttering about the impropriety of alighting in front of the club from a steam carriage. I pushed my way through to Monsieur Fogg, who had nearly been swallowed by congratulatory crowds. "You have won the bet, monsieur," I told him.
As though saying it aloud once more would make it more real.
So sing it loud would make it more real, and repeated the sentiment again for good measure. Monsieur Fogg pressed my hand warmly, and did not remark even once upon the impropriety of my gesture. Indeed, those cool days did not so much as waver or soften. I believe he welcomed the chance to save my hand. "Any gentleman would be fortunate to call you his valet, and you have been a worthy companion to me besides," Monsieur Fogg said, and I knew that from him there could be no higher praise. "Mr. Fogg! Mr. Fogg!" one of the journalists in the crowd cried, interrupting our conversation. "What next for the great adventure, Phileas Fogg and his loyal valet, Passepartout?" My master looked at me, and I returned the glance. "I have always wondered what is at the centre of the earth."
Hey!
I looked
Hey!
around at the faces of the assembled crowd and quacked an eyebrow. "Anyone care to wager?" "I believe that tonight I will have supper and go to bed. Come, Passepartout, it grows late." "Yes, Monsieur Fogg," I said, and followed. Your journey around the world is complete. Celebrated Englishman Phileas Fogg wins a round-the-world wager. Journey completed in 70 days, despite sheer size of the world, sinking airship off coast of Singapore, and nights of rough sleeping.
Hooray!
That's it? Those are the only highlights?
We travel. I'll hit share on that. Oh, maybe I won't.
I want
I'm
to share
online on
the-
Steam, I am. Of course I am. So that was quite a journey. We did not touch Africa once, which was a bit of a shame. We ended with a courageous character, a flamboyant manner, remarkable valeting, and a comfortable relationship with Monsieur Fogg. We visited 22 cities, travelled for 30,418 miles on a lot of airships, finished with £12,000.
Dollar.
Quite good.
Yeah, I think that went pretty well.
That went very
30,000
well.
miles, 20,000 by air.
So Mick, have you had you beaten this before? I assume you have.
What I did and what I didn't tell you is that I've done 2 playthroughs of this. I've never beaten it in 80 days.
Oh wow, alright.
I did 84 days once, and that was when I took the Trans-Siberian Railway. And then do you want me to tell you what went wrong?
Sure.
Well, if you're gonna buy this for yourself, or if we do this again and go the Trans-Siberian
Oh,
Railway.
that's true.
Yeah, I'm maybe gonna buy this for myself. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe don't spoil it.
But yeah,
Something goes wrong is what I'm gathering.
something held me up for exactly 5 days, and I finished the entire journey in 84 days. And I've made a post on Twitter about it.
Good.
Oh. So what does the share button actually do? Where does it share it?
It gives you a link. I mean, what I have is a link on Twitter, actually. The same link will have the shared link of that one journey I did. So I'm just going to look at my Twitter. Scroll past all the wrestling pictures. So I don't make that many tweets. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. It's on my Twitter. I'll find it. It requires the 80 Days app.
Ah.
Nah, I can't view it just now. Or view Journey in 80 Days. Surely I have the game right here. I have the game right here. The Solars.
Yeah.
You brought up a very interesting point earlier on.
Uh-oh.
In that, if we're just going around the world in 80 days, could we not circumnavigate the North Pole?
Right.
Good question.
Will that be our next grand adventure?
I'll be honest, I have actually completed the game, technically.
Uh-huh.
I've given
Okay.
away, you know,
I see. I got it.
how I did it. But maybe we should begin again. In London, in 1872. It is I, Passepartout. We're going round the world. Pack my hunting rifle and my evening hunting rifle?
Hunting rifle?
New route discovered to Paris.
So wait, what's this now? It's just
He's starting a new game.
We begin again.
just another standard game.
New game plus.
We're not going to pack that fucking hunting rifle. It's fucking hell. And already we've got a train time. Like, you get random items at the start. Already we've got a train timetable that's helped out a lot more than anything else. It's ours on the Amaranthine Express. I'll skip it through as quickly as I can, the bits we've already done. Because our journey had begun. We want to go from Paris to somewhere north. Munich might be the most northerly place we can talk about.
Not especially far north.
No,
though.
it's not, is it? We're in a dreadful bother. But tell us about Nice. Or Prague. He told us about the Trans-Siberian Railroad, which is like the least useful thing he could have done. Come on. I forgot the Amaranthine Railway took so long. According to the paper, we can go to Bucharest. Who really cares? Right, I think we want... What we want to do is, like,
Wanna go
actually
to
go back to
Amsterdam.
Britain.
You just go back. You're like,
Yeah,
"We're
I
around the
want to go
world."
back to Britain so we can go to Snowdon and Cambridge.
Hang out. We just go back to London and say, we went around the world. We did it.
Hooray!
We've
we
left
could
in
go
a
to
private
Amsterdam.
car to Amsterdam already.
Wow.
We found a member of the Coachmakers Guild, carried us to Amsterdam. She loaded the case into the back, stoked the boiler, and took off at high speed. He swerved around each corner with a touch of showmanship. I clung on tight. This would be a terrific ride. Madame, tell us about Amsterdam. They grow the best tulips, I'm sure they do, but can you go from Amsterdam to Cambridge? No, I didn't think so. But what about Copenhagen? Surely. Thank you. By hire car? Magnificent. Day 2 and we're already in Amsterdam. We must have topped 40 miles per hour in this car, maybe even 50. It was a fabulous way to travel. Such cars were growing in popularity. It was even said that the King of Sweden drove a car.
Wow.
Bloody hell. So, we are in Amsterdam. The clock is ticking. Copenhagen. Leaves tomorrow.
We're just blazing through now, aren't we?
I do know there's an achievement for you not using a hotel, so I don't think I will. We're gonna sleep rush. Rush? Rough.
This seems like a bad idea, but okay.
The hotel was too expensive. We had no option but to curl up in a shady spot. Well, yeah, not taking hotels when we're going to the North Pole. Doesn't sound like the best idea I've ever had.
No, really doesn't seem like a good idea.
Right, we can go to Copenhagen immediately or we can explore. I think we'll just go. Honk honk. In a Bozek car on our way. Is this the way to Copenhagen? Our next leg was another short trip in a car. I bounded in, eager to get started. We hired the same driver as before. You too, she exclaimed. Get in. Drop the sweep. Copenhagen in row over gold prices. Is what I did instead of conversing at all. How are we going to get across these bits of water? As we departed Amsterdam for Denmark, I begged Monsieur Fogg to allow me a turn at the wheel. He dismissed my request without due consideration. I do believe he does not trust me. Trust me, Monsieur Fogg. We're going around the world in cheaty days. Oh, I should have gone for Fogg there. Ah, the bumbling Passepartout. Fuck you, buddy. Very good. He thinks we're bumbling.
Oh.
We made good progress in the car. Toot, my friends, toot. We finally came upon the sight of tiled roofs, the harbour, the smell of herring. We had arrived in Copenhagen.
I like
Early
that
enough to
line.
explore.
Toot, my friends. Toot.
Copenhagen had spilled out of its old fortifications in the last few years. New homes were built overlooking the gleaming lakes, and the glacis all flattened to provide foundations for new development. So we wandered the market district near the famous Tivoli Gardens, where we observed a group of young men and women pushing a mix of penny farthings and older, rusted bone shakers in the direction of a church. I raced after one and caught her by the arm, and then I pounced. But excuse me, we are going round the world!
I'm not sure if you're making that up or not. I guess I'll find out
The
pretty
young
soon.
lady laughed. Are you really? Well, we're going to race to the top of the tower on our high wheelers. She indicated a tall, cylindrical tower 7 or 8 stories high, whose staircase was a smooth ramp. I would place my money on that one! I murmured to Monsieur Fogg, indicating a particular contestant. My master concurred. Well-maintained penny farthing, good musculature in the legs, a sensible choice, Passepartout. Monsieur Fogg stepped forward. Fucking out. Excuse me, gentlemen. May I present one more competitor for your race?
Oh my god.
I knew in my heart
Yes.
that this could not end well, and my instincts were unerringly awfully correct. Will
Oh
you ride
dear.
with us then? A young girl demanded, eyes glinting in the... Indeed not. My valet will ride, and he will win.
Yes.
Indeed I shall, I declared,
Indeed I
giddy with a
shall.
sort of crazed, breathless confidence. One of the ladies gave me the loan of a penny farthing with a strict instruction not to injure her precious darling. His name is Frithjof, she said, and he has the best bicycle in all of Copenhagen. I examined Frithjof. He, that is to say, it, was a simple affair of a pedal, chain and wheels. Surely I could ride such a straightforward contraption well enough to compare with these
Oh,
Danish
no.
enthusiasts. I was hoisted up into the tiny saddle above the enormous spindly wheel. A little pistol was fired and then we were off. My friends, the act of writing the tale makes me want to ride once more. What a challenge! We pedalled like demons each turn of the wheel, throwing us screeching halfway round the curve of the tower. Our shouts echoed the walls, mingling with the crash of chains and gears from the infernal machines on which I rode. I am rather proud to say, I did not lose, but came somewhere in the middle of the pack, collapsing in a breathless purple-pink heap the moment I made it to the top. The girl who loaned me her bicycle seized it back, muttering, "Poor Frithjof," as she checked over for any injury. My master handed me over the sum he had bet with good grace and clapped me on the shoulder. Well played. Thank you, monsieur. I tried my hardest, as I observed. We sat and recuperated at the top of the round tower, watching as
This
a
is
column
amazing.
of black smoke rose from a nearby square. I pointed it out to the muscular victor of our race, but it was the young, blonde man. Leaning close with him, who answered, "The anti-monarchist dissidents keep trying to blow up the palace despite the reforms. Our palaces are always being blown up."
I like that. I like the sound of that. It's like, yeah, you know, I was trying to blow stuff up.
So relations with Fog have improved and our character is now steadfast. We will be going to Christiana on an airship tomorrow.
Not going to Stockholm.
We will be going... we'll buy some cowboy boots.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And that's it. Copenhagen, famous for their cowboy boots. I'll do a no hotel
you're
challenge.
not getting the drinking horn.
Nah, because, you know, it sells in Bucharest and who wants it? You know what?
But
It's going to be like quite an arduous journey round where we're going, so we will actually, you know, keep
Right.
Fog's health up rather than go for an achievement, because we might die. Someone else is going to Christiana. See, someone went from from Amsterdam to Christiana,
oh,
which is something that I've missed. The Northern Lights was a shabby airship that had clearly been pulled out of active service on some battlefield somewhere, patched, and then put into use for commercial passengers. The crew were a rough and ready sort and appeared not to have the least idea about looking after a gentleman passenger. They delighted in a bizarre verbal game called Hergen Jurgen, the rules of
Hergen
which appeared
Jurgen.
to be repeated saying of Hergen until a player, seemingly without constraint, declared Jurgen and won the round. I, of course, tried my hand at it. The results were more or less than follows. I began by saying, Hergen, which passed my turn to my opponent. He cogitated it for a while, then declared, Hergen. I met that with a Hergen of my own. The tension was increasing. My opponent thought long and hard before exclaiming, Hergen. I met that with a Hergen rejoinder. The risk was palpable. What would he reply? He considered deeply and finally announced, Jurgen! And he cried with laughter at his victory.
Don't.
I demanded a rematch, and he inclined that I should start. I opened with, Hergen!
oh no.
My opponent fought
This
for a
is
long
great.
while, then declared, Hergen. I responded with a Hergen. The game was becoming quite exciting. He cogitated long and hard before exclaiming Hergen, and I replied with a Jurgen and took the game with great satisfaction.
Oh!
My opponent seemed genuinely annoyed. I demanded a rematch and indicated that I should start. I began the next game
Why?
with Jurgen,
Why?
which took the game, but without provoking any interest. The crewman I was playing with explained that I had misunderstood and invited me to try so again. I did so, choosing Hergen, and play passed to my opponent. My opponent thought deeply and finally announced, Hergen. I met that with
Why
a
are we
Jurgen
so
and took the
like
game.
this?
My opponent seemed genuinely annoyed, however the crewman had now tired of the game and with an apology resumed his duties. I returned to worrying about the ship's ability to stay in the sky, which in fairness we did until we finally descended. It's all good stuff.
Hergen Jurgen seems like a pretty good game.
My concerns on departure were unfounded and we landed quite safely. The demands on my sanity were far worse, and I feared I would not be able to sleep for the cries of Hergen Jurgen rolling around in my poor skull. Do we have enough time to explore? We don't. There is nothing here in Christiana, we'll just have to wait in the hotel. The streets of Christiana were completely deserted. We did not see anyone anywhere. We found a hotel in the end, but it was deserted and cold, and there was no dining to be had. Monsieur Fogg seemed quite unruffled. We'll leave money on the counter, he declared, and perhaps a note that their service could be improved. The stars came out over the empty city. It was cold, but very beautiful indeed, and we are now polished. And we will explore, and there is a new route from Christiana up to there. The city was still empty. I was put in mind of what had happened to Belgrade. Surely the Austro-Hungarian Empire was not moving north. Who would be mad enough to engage a war in two directions at once? Ah, well, except for fucking Napoleon, of course. But then look at how that fiasco had turned out. This is an eerie place, Monsieur Fogg remarked in an uncharacteristic display of emotion. Certainly, the silent streets had a certain menace to them. We must find the municipal centre, the government. A city cannot be left totally abandoned. A little more walking, we came to the Parliament building, and beside it, a set of freshly built steps leading down into the ground. The passage was lit by gas lamps. I listened by the entrance and heard very faintly a rattling sound. Cartwheels and singing. Sure enough, there was a festival going on. Why these people had moved their entire city downwards, I did not... Oh shit, I thought that was did not know, not did not care. And Foxtel for 66 all of a sudden. I was not... It was enough to find a hearty meal and to reassure ourselves of what the journey continue. I spent a little while browsing the markets. Yours for £100. A finely carved ivory walrus. I paid her, of course, and packed the set carefully. Our funds went down by a fair amount. And we are going to be off to Tromsø. In a bit. I don't think it's worth paying for it to be expedited. Let's just stay in a hotel again.
Too expensive to expedite it.
And we can afford our master every surface. Surface? And also service. Oh god, it's not even today. We're going to have to stay another day. We'll never make it around the world in 80 days. But Fogg has fresh tea, and that's what you need to go on the Fjordic flyer to Tromsø. Oh Jesus, we nearly missed it as well. It departed at 7. We found... Sorry, I just started eating a sweet. I'm fully aware that I would be speaking, but now I've just got my full sweet, and it's just stupid.
Now you're in another airship.
Well. We found ourselves at an airship dock, blowing clouds of white steam from our mouths as we waited to board. The captain, a shockingly blonde lady with stern, sculpted features, brought us tin cups of hot tea and insisted on punching us each on the arm. I punched back in comradely fashion and she frowned, but beyond that, there was no particular rebuke, except of course from my master. It is good for a pilot to have some spirit. It suggests they may not be totally helpless in circumstances of some pressure. We boarded the airship soon after and lifting up, ready to trace the delicate lacework of the Norwegian coastline on our way north. Apparently we're spending too much... Oh fucking hell, we are as well. We're spending a lot of money.
Yeah.
So what counts as going around the world? Because if we go like really north and just do a wee circle.
That's what we're doing. That's our current, like...
I confess to a certain bafflement as to my master's intentions with this particular leg of our journey. I asked him his thoughts, but received no insight. We are progressing far too slowly, he replied simply. These are early days, we must hold our course. But what is our course? Towards evening, the airship descended towards a small fishing town nestled between two dramatic slopes. It was, I think, the smallest place I had ever seen, and we are now manicured.
That's weird.
We'll have to sleep and explore in the morning. We are expending far too much money. Tromsø by night was no more endearing, and it was substantially colder. I did little but wander in a state of some isolation until I stumbled upon a bar, in which several fishermen, men and women, were playing chess matches. It was hardly fine entertainment, but I won a few matches, which led to me feel I had achieved some part of my cultural duties as a traveller, and we are polished once more. Here we go. I walked the streets of Tromso, a pleasant enough perambulation thanks to the dramatic slopes and glacial lagoon. There is a university, they tell me, though I cannot think who would endure such cold just to read some books, but my ire was quickly stirred to keep me warm when I encountered one Mademoiselle Felicia, who stopped me on the street to ask, without irony, if it was a pleasure for one such as myself to visit her city. You mean... I flattered her, of course, but my gallantry was quickly put to the test by an next remark. You are the ambassador... Well, she's not going to say that, is she? You are the ambassador we have been promised. From Paris of the Europe to this, the Paris of the North. We have been promised a liaison between our cities for many years now. Who else would you be? Tromso is the second capital of Norway, you know. Mademoiselle, I am travelling round the world.
Yeah, I think that's the only choice here.
She looked downcast. Is that so? Ah well, monsieur. Enjoy Tromso. Wow, you can! With that, she let go of my arm. Her grip had been iron-like, and she all but skipped away down the cobbled streets, which were nothing like boulevards, I might add.
Wow.
Right, that departs tomorrow at 10. Nothing to it today. Let's go to the market.
Hope we run out of money at the North Pole.
Right, we don't need that. We sell the cowboy boots.
Oh no!
And then yeah, let's hotel it in Tromso for one day. Fucking hell. We're not going to sleep outside here. But I will polish shoes, earning £66, as well as overhearing that the fastest way to Minsk is to go via Helsinki. That's good to know. But we are going to Smeerenberg. Is that the Svalbard Island? I think it might be. On a Pomor hunting balloon. Jesus. I have arranged transport for us, Monsieur Fox said, cool as a cucumber. But monsieur, that is my job, I exclaimed. Are you displeased with my work? I think you may be somewhat surprised by our next destination. We are going north. Very north. How far north, monsieur? Smeerenberg. He said, showing me the location marked in his almanac. It was indeed very north, perhaps even very, very north. But should we not be heading east? Sometimes, prostitutes, the best way to untie a knot is to not untie it at all.
Yeah.
Sometimes one must simply slice through it.
Alexander the Great, bitch.
The Alexandrian solution, I murmured. And I fancy his cool blue eyes warmed a little. Though, monsieur, if you are Alexander the Great, does that make me his loyal seed, Bucephalus? I could swear Monsieur Fogg's lips twitched a little. You are a valet passepartout, not a beast of burden. He built monuments to Persepolis, you know. Monsieur Fogg merely took a breath and rustled his newspaper and ordered me to ready our bag to depart soonest. I found myself entirely full of gratitude for his habit of stiff reserve.
I do like how, taking this route does cause some conversations of, what the hell are you doing?
We are on track. Very good, very good. The captain of our balloon was a dark-browed woman by the name of Yana Starostina. What exactly is it that you hunt? Whales, walruses, reindeer, even polar bears somewhere? Because that's how they speak in on the Svalbard Islands.
Yeah.
It's very much northern England. Loads of countries have a north.
Hey.
You're also a hunter, I inquired, with a glance at the livid scar. I was once, maybe I will be again once my little ones have grown. It would be very irresponsible to allow myself to be eaten by a walrus just now. And that makes Fogg like us some more.
Good.
I could not wish for a superior valet. That is why I do a racist imitation of his accent. The balloons seemed to make good time through the colder air below, stretched an endless ice-like sea. This was the top of the world, a place where few men and women had ever seen, and yet, still, there were those who treated it as it was like commonplace. I asked our captain if there were many people here in the north. She laughed. There were enough to start an argument, more than enough for that. And we descended into Smeerenberg, which we explored. The stench of Smeerenberg was all pervading. It mingled with coal smog and thick plumes of steam to form a foul miasma that hung thick and grim and unaccountably oily over the settlement.
Oh, there's a bank here.
There is. I shall never be able to wash this out of my jacket. It is Wales. I greeted him courteously. The man pointed at several copper kettles nearby. They were set in the brick ovens, belching black smoke. They render the whale blubber over there for oil and fuel. You become accustomed to the smell. I introduced myself to him. I am Vitty Jokinen. You don't look like seal hunters or smugglers. So what are you doing here? We're going around the world. I said, with perhaps more enthusiasm than was warranted. Oh, are you adventurers? I had hoped that you were geologists. Do you often hope for geologists? Seems a slim hope. It's the Arctic. After hunters and adventurers, scientists are the most common breed. So what is your purpose here? I am an artificer. There's a guild outpost here? No, that's in Virgo Hammer. I am here on an expedition to the North Pole as it happens. Major Fogg's demeanour altered entirely. You don't say! My good fellow, let me buy you whatever it is they drink here. I stared at my master in consternation. He so rarely took a direct interest in the locals. Could my master have brought us so far north in hopes of circumnavigating the North Pole and thus cutting the knot of his wager? He was too reasonable a man for such recklessness, wasn't he? And yet, what was this entire journey around the world if not an act of utter recklessness? My master was, after all, a gambling man. Pass for two, go and amuse yourself. I shall return later. We went to the market to amuse ourselves by buying a tot of rum. That's what we did.
Yes, buy the rum.
And then we went to the hotel, where we passed the night. I was masterless in a cold city. I walked the cobbled streets and steam vent-heated alleys of Smeerenberg. I watched a group of hard-bitten men and women flense a whale's flesh from its bones, chatted amiably with a group of shivering prostitutes at the dock, and narrowly avoided a brawl at one of the taverns. I could not stop thinking of the North Pole. It was a dream, a myth, as much as any real place. It was one of my dreams too. What child had not read of the stories of Franklin's lost expedition of 1845 and imagined themselves finding his ship perfectly preserved, of sailing into the pure white and making something unknown known? These were my thoughts at the moment my master returned, cheeks reddened with an unnational froth. "Passepartout, we're going to the North Pole!" "Yes, monsieur," I said. After all, what else was there to say? New route discovered to the North Pole.
Oh dear.
Yes! Santa!
And this is why we've been staying in hotels.
I don't see it yet.
You'll see it in a second.
Oh jeez. Yeah.
We are on the Ice Walker, which is hella cool.
God, is that what I think it is?
I confess, I gaped like a simpleton when Monsieur Jokinen showed us the enormous contraption that would lead the polar expedition. "We call it the Ice Walker," he said, patting one of the enormous metal skis attached to the machine's underside.
What is it? I've not got the stream up.
It's steampunk Metal Gear.
Yeah, pretty much.
Metal Gear?
More of an ice skier on an ice slider,
Metal
no?
Gear.
Those sound awful. Don't listen to him, Coulter. he told the Ice Walker soothingly, and covered a slight smile with one graceful, mittened hand. The machine was vaguely boat-shaped, with a pilot's bubble of reinforced glass at the front. Thick fur covered the joints, fuel lines and boilers to insulate them from the cold. The hull itself resembled that of a kosh, used by the Pomor people for Arctic hunting. Rounded lines, an additional layer of flush skin planking, a protective false keel. It looks like a fucking death trap, I remarked, already feeling rather troubled by this turn in our adventures. Monsieur Fogg, let us go aboard, Passepartout. His eyes looked overly bright. No, not fevered, a bit eager. It was unsettling to see him like this. I was so used to his mask of cool indifference to the triumphs and disasters that had beset us. How is your health? You say you're in roaring health, but you're gonna get fucked up. We settled in and heard two sharp whistles that signalled our departure. With a rumble of boilers and a crack of ice, we began our expedition into the uncharted peril of the Arctic. I could not help but wonder whether we would arrive in London within 40 days and surprise everyone at the Reform Club quite out of their hats. The thought was thrilling, if still distant. I turned the whale oil lamps down and climbed into bed, but it was a long time before I fell into sleep. Honk honk.
Honk, honk, honk. Honking.
We stopped at the nearby bay of Virgo-Hamna to add a large tethered balloon to our convoy to be used for meteorological readings and short explorations. A lone artificer manned the small hangar that jutted up from the ice beach and glared at the Ice Walker. What a vulgar contraption. I think it's quite marvellous. Do you? I am Solomon Auguste Andre. I propose that we take my balloon all the way to the North Pole, but the council requisitioned it as mere support and ordered me to stay behind. Why would you want to go on such a dangerous expedition? Dangerous? Ha! Only to an amateur. Monsieur Andre looked north with unadulterated longing in his eyes. Out there is nature in all her merciless majesty. A man may find his truest self there if he has the courage. Have you discovered your true self? Not yet. Someday, I will let nothing stop me. I could help you stow away on board.
Oh no!
I offered. Quite carried away, he blinked. You would? Really? Would you help him stow away on board?
I mean, this guy.
He's a bitter
Yeah, sure.
artificer. What could go wrong?
Right.
Why not? I had made the offer on impulse, but I would not back down. He seized my hands in gratitude, and we formulated a plan in hasty murmurs. I would feign violent illness in the galley, and when the crew was distracted, Monsieur Andre would stow away in the balloon. Truthfully, it was more down to Monsieur Andre's stealth than my own skill that he managed to make it aboard. Still, I had fulfilled my end of the bargain, and went to my berth a happy man. A happy man.
A happy man.
We can attend to Fogg so he doesn't die immediately.
Yeah, I think
So we
should do
have
that.
to get back from the North Pole.
Yeah.
I awoke early and paid a quick visit to Monsieur Andre up in his balloon. Ah, Passepartout, I can never repay you for this. Do you need food? Other help? My balloon is well supplied. Do not worry yourself on my account. We agreed that I would not return again unless there was a dire emergency. I slipped away. Thoughts filled with premonitions of bears. At breakfast, Monsieur Yukonen introduced us to a fellow expeditionist I paid particular attention to. Bogdan Mezensky, leader of the formidable Pomor hunters, who manned the harpoons. We will be supplying provisions till we're away from land anyway. Then we'll hunt whales, of course. Why, of course? I thought we were an exploratory mission. Let us not spoil the surprise for our guest, eh? I am not over fond of surprises. This will be a fun surprise, unless you are squeamish about blood.
Oh no.
Forget I said anything. The hunter snorted, eyeing me like an errant child. We're making slow but steady progress as we attend to Phileas Fogg and meander our way through the glaciers of the Arctic. Halfway through the afternoon, we fetched up at an icy cliff far too sheer to be essayed by the Ice Walker's skis. Will we tunnel through it? Which sounds like a stupid thing to do. Monsieur Jokinen cast me a look full of mischief and pulled a lever of gleaming wood. We lurched down with a mechanical hiss and the engines hummed at a higher pitch. I steadied my master, who looked more grimly calm than usual at our abrupt motion. Fucking hell. I tightened my grip on the nearby handhold. Out of the window I saw the mechanical skis bend and articulate. They must have hidden joints, forming themselves into sharp claws which dug into the pack ice.
Yes.
We scuttled up the ice face. There was no other way to describe it. The Ice Walker swung and hissed and spewed steam in great shrieking gouts, but we made it up in less than 5 minutes. Next time, buckle up. Next time, give us some warning. Ah, but what would be the fun in that? I could not help grinning back. Now that the gut-wrenching terror had passed, it did seem like quite a jolly adventure. It is taking forever to get to the North Pole. But, maybe, that was to be expected. The coast of Spitsbergen, the Spitzberg penguins, disappeared in our wake. There was no land between here and the pole, or none that had been discovered. It was entirely possible there was nothing but frozen ocean and endless sky ahead. We might as well have skied across the moon, though if we had, we'd have at least known people were looking after us. Out here, we were vanished entirely and moved as ghosts across the wastes. Behind us are the little clustered lights of civilization, and only unrelieved whiteness lies ahead. Ice Walker! Sorry.
It's pretty cool. Like, this trip is pretty cool.
Can we go from the North Pole to anywhere else? Hey, we're in the... No one has ever set foot at the pole. Can you imagine being the first to do so? I would like to... none of these routes are actually ever going to work. North Pole to St. Petersburg.
North Pole to Yokohama. Let's do it.
The North Pole to Honolulu. What, are we going to have to explore the North Pole? Surely we're just going to come back the way we came. Because there's going to be no other way to get back.
There might be.
What? Nobody's ever been there, but that there might be a car.
Yeah.
I was heating Monsieur Fogg's shaving water to a precise degree when I heard a long trumpet blast and the sound of many boots thumping in the corridor. I abandoned my preparations and went to look because it looks a bit more interesting. It could well be an emergency. Monsieur Mizensky was shouting directions to his group of Pomo hunters.
Oh, we've lost your, we can't hear you anymore. Nope, nothing.
I came to join you! I announced, somewhat to my own surprise. I'm back. Unless I'm not. Am I back? I'm back on the stream.
You can also see that the...
I was back on the stream. I wasn't
You're
back
back.
on here. I need to reinitialize my mic on Mumble. That was
Alright.
coming from the stream. So what I said on the stream was I repeated, I came to join you! I've said that 4 times now.
Good.
I announced, somewhat to my own surprise. Really? I thought he would dismiss me, and I straightened my shoulders, attempting to look like a competent fellow in mysterious crisis. It's too late. A moment later, the floor beneath my feet began to hum. Merde! How did I continually find myself in the midst of these misadventures? Apart from by volunteering. Don't say volunteering, because that's what happened, but you know, let's ignore that. I don't think that was my fault. The Pomo huntsman pulled me into the chair next to him and buckled me in place with what I can only describe as unnecessary viciousness. I remained silent in awareness that I was intruding. The hum reached a crescendo and there was a stomach-churning wrench as the room detached from the ice walker and pitched into the air. It was a gyrocopter masquerading as a ready room. I leaned towards the observation windows, a slash of pale sky, a roiling, ice-sharded ocean, and that was Zutalor! There she blows! Monsieur Mezensky pointed and elbowed me in the side. Isn't that what you English say when you spot a whale? Are we going to hunt a whale? I goggled at the enormous creature visible against the chair.
Did Mick cut out again?
Yep. I think he did.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Oh. There you are.
There's something about the angle that I'm holding the mic at. Because what I was doing is that I didn't want to sit up so straight. Because I've got the mic on a pile of books in front of me, so it's actually held up to my mouth so I don't have to slouch. But presumably I can just sit here and it'll be fine. Yeah. There was a scramble. A hunter opened a hatch in the ceiling and clambered up to man the mounted harpoon. Another shouted out the direction and heading of the whale to the pilot. What can I do to help? Nothing. Now shut up and stay out of the way. Sorry, that really done in my throat. I'll loosen the tie. I'll loosen my cravat. This is a strange situation. No time for cravats. I could see the whale thrashing its mighty tail as it attempted to escape. There was a hiss of a harpoon launch. A shout of horror. Our craft shuddered and swung. The instrument span wildly. The harpooner had hit home. A thick rope cable connected us to our quarry. It thrashed in pain, jerking us along with it as its blood darkened the water. We did it! The hunters, if anything, looked grimmer than ever and tightened their buckles. Another harpoon hissed a roar of pain, and suddenly we were not simply flung, but tumbling through the sky. I braced my feet against the chair legs and put my head between my legs, preparing for a crash landing. Mezensky was shouting commands at his team of hunters. A scream penetrated through my haze of dizziness, and I looked up in time to see one of the harpooners miss his grip and fall away, a tiny black dot against sky and sea. I heard Mezensky curse and try to unbuckle his belt, his eyes on the ceiling hatch. I lunged for the ladder first, and he was so astonished that he did not pull me back until it was too late. I needed to be part of the hunt. No, I wanted it. I could almost hear my dear Mamon's voice in my head, lamenting my flair for the dramatic. The Arctic wind burned my cheeks, and the salt spray from the air was quickly soaking my mittens. I clung to the harpoon and swung it to aim at the whale, taking time to steady myself against the gyrocopter's pitching. The harpoon flew forth, striking the beast in the blubber, a mere irritation rather than a death blow. It keened once more and rolled over. The harpoon cable went taut, and there was a terrific jerk, as though through smoked glass or a smeared camera lens. I saw my mitten hand slip on the lever. I felt, rather than heard, a scream tear itself out of my throat as I plummeted through the air into the dark, freezing ocean below.
Oh no.
Relations with fog have deteriorated slightly.
We may also be, fucking dead.
Time goes on. Honk honk.
What? We just keep going?
You goat-faced idiots! I was only gonna bleeding close the hatch. There was no need to harpoon the beast again. Oh, so I am not dead. You very nearly killed yourself is what you did, bloody civilian. Next time, leave the harpoon into the harpooners. Did we get the well at least? Of course, that was a lucky shot. Don't get any ideas, I still think you're an idiot. But we got the whale. That was me, past
Got the
platoon.
whale. Yeah, we did it.
I fought the tidiness and looked around. I thought I saw my last still drawn face. But I was sound asleep before I could even call out. The ice walker, I noted, was moving once more. But we got the whale. A set of mechanical pincers emerged from the back of the ice walker, grabbed up the whale's carcass from the water, and pulled us into its gaping maw. The artificers told me that it would be processed for fuel on our journey ever north. I went down to observe more closely, standing on one of the metal walkways above the rendering station. It was as though the ice walker itself was consuming the whale, a vast array of pipes pierced into the corpse, sucking out whale oil in great heaving gulps. Long blades whirled and sliced, chopping blubber away from meat. The crew minced up the meat for curing and drying, faces blood-streaked and grisly. It was strangely marvellous, a concert of machine and man, both elegant and practiced. I could not stop thinking about it even as I lay in my berth that night, and the smell of oil and blood chased me into my dreams. Monsieur Fogg had managed to find himself a whist partner from among the artificers' ranks. It was an arcane talent of his, and one I greatly envied. The fellow in question was a youth of barely 20, handsome enough and in a pallid sort of mode, and apparently some sort of meteorological prodigy. I wished him the joy of partnering with my master, and took myself off for a turn about the decks, and later a little drink at the illicit still in the cargo hold. Honk honk. I don't know why it's honking so much. Ah, there you are, Passepartout. This journey is almost as arduous as crossing with those two women.
Yeah.
Would you like to
Almost.
come up in the balloon with me this afternoon? We need some meteorological readings, but we could make a picnic of it. I wasn't so much for
minute.
meteorological expeditions, but when he said picnic, I agreed fervently. Oh yeah, that guy stood in the balloon.
Yeah.
An hour later, we were climbing up the swinging rope ladder. I hauled myself over, much to his amusement. It's alright to accept some help from a friend now and then, you know. Are we friends, monsieur? He laughed, sounding rather fond rather than rancorous, and took my elbow with his right hand. Call me Vitty, eh? Surely we know each other that well by now, because it's been like 10 days. I set out the lunch of whale meat and... No, I hunted around for Monsieur Andre, because that could be quite interesting. He appeared from a ceiling hatch, looking a little wide-eyed. You will have to hide. Vitty Jokinen is board. It would almost be a relief to be caught. There's nothing to do but eat and look down at snow and ice. That's what fucking polar exploration is, you tosser. I said.
Yeah, no kidding.
Surely you knew that. I'll be fine. Go keep Jokinen occupied. Thank you, I murmured calmly. Vitty cast me an almost shy smile, and we ducked back into the warmth for an amiable lunch. We're keeping Fogg up there. We've got to keep him above 70, I reckon. Today, the Ice Walker's pilot threw a cloudberry pie at the chief navigator's face at lunch. No, this is no euphemism, though I did make a few arch remarks about lovers' quarrels to my dining companions. Alas, apparently, the pilot and chief navigator are merely friends. A word that hides a multitude of sins, in my humble opinion. I eavesdropped upon their argument shamelessly. The crux of the matter is that we were a few degrees off course, and they blamed each other. We have a course? Do you think we just look at the compass and shout, tally-ho north? Yes! Clenching a
Yeah,
little
well.
the way her hands curled into fists by her side. How did we end up off course? Perhaps it was sabotage. We are the only ones here. You think one of us did it? Let's stir the pot, because betrayal usually comes from within. Let's keep our wits about us and move forward. I don't know, it doesn't look like we're taking much of a northward course here. You, the interloper. Is it possible to go from North Pole to Gastown? Tell me about Gastown. Travel, madame, we are going around the world. I don't know why, I've not been paying much attention to this conversation, and suddenly we're talking about New Orleans. Down in Mississippi, down in New Orleans. Today, I investigated our unplanned detour because I'm a fucking detective. I learned nothing because I'm not a fucking detective. Though what I did was I bribed an apprentice navigator to keep his eye out for anything unusual. My funds went down by £50.
Oh.
Ice Walker. An inconsequential sort of day.
I realize we're gonna have to go through like this entire trip.
I reckon it'll be easier
Again.
coming back. One of the
Really?
artificers accidentally released a little pack of spider-like automatons.
Yes.
And the entire lower deck had to be evacuated. And that was it. We made progress.
Good.
Whoa, we're mostly there. Whoa, living on Ice Walker.
We'll
Today-
make it, I swear.
The pilot was, as usual, arguing with the chief navigator. Shall I bring a pie? We were 2.5 degrees off course. Again, this never happens to me. Of course not, because you're perfect, aren't you, Camilla? So it's definitely sabotage. It is not definitely anything. You think I haven't? We're breaking up a fight. We've been punched in the face.
Oh no.
I didn't notice the chief navigator throw a punch at the pilot until it was too late. I sprawled to the floor, dazed and shaken. My God, I am so sorry. Are you all right? Oh, I'm fine. Come on, Ice Walker. This is going For fuck's sake. Disaster has struck. Take a drink.
Oh no.
So cold. The Ice Walker has been destroyed.
What? Excuse me.
Excuse me?
Oh my god.
We are stranded. Oh, for fuck's sake.
Oh my god.
Upon an ice floe in the bitterest cold I have ever experienced. I have only a few moments to scribble this entry, so I will keep it to the most important facts. We have little hope of rescue and few supplies. It seems certain we will
Well,
die here. Only
Oops.
not yet. There is too much still to do. Past Batu, I feel somewhat dreadful. We're not fucking moving, are we?
It feels somewhat dreadful.
I have gained a little warmth from my fingers by putting them into compacted snow, enough to write. On the Ice Walker, nobody knows what happened. Disaster struck in the middle of the night. The Pomor crew suspect vengeful whales and bloodied spirits. The artificers blame boiler explosions and cascade reactions. What of the fail-safes? They activated saving us. A series of pneumatic escape tubes that shot us and pieces of equipment, crates, suitcases, all hurtling as far from the sinking wreck as far as possible. He had done his best, Viti Jokinen. But he seemed to feel responsible for our situation. and lapsed into dark, brooding silence. I can write no more. Too cold. We are still on the ice. Madame Newhog led up into the sky. Bugger this! Strapped on our snowshoes and began walking out into the whiteness. I called after her, but she did not look back. I looked around at the thin, ice-rimmed faces of the other survivors and wondered how long it would be before another one of us gave up. Simply gave up and walked out into the snow. I swore it would not be me and held that promise close to my chest and fooled myself that it warmed me. I looked down at my master's too pale and shivering form and tried desperately to think about how I could help him. I saw the downed hot air balloon in the distance, trekked over it, despite the incredulous looks of other expeditioners. Monsieur Andre was waiting for me when I drew near.
Uh-oh.
Did you see what caused the wreck? It wasn't my doing, if that's what you mean. I have not lost my mind quite yet. I explained my master's situation. Please. The artificer handed me a few sealed tins. Don't let the others see. They will be curious. I very deliberately thanked him and then thanked him again, if only in my mind, as I spewed congealed broth into my master's mouth.
A mother bird to its young.
The sky was ablaze when I awoke. Spectacular streamers of emerald green and bruised purple and flush pink. The aurora borealis, a nearby artificer whispered in awe. It is magnificent. It seemed to me as though the sky itself was giving us hope, painted in coruscating colours across the horizon. It seems that the prospect of death makes me sentimental. Once more, I sought to aid my master. The apprentice navigator I had once bribed beckoned me closer, pressing a vial of thick tonic into my hands. It will help your master heal, he said. Take it. Why? Why help me? I didn't find out anything for you, did I? Consider it repayment. It seemed kindness was to be found even at the edges of the world, past the point of human endurance. Good gracious, this is rather more strenuous than I anticipated. The 40 days estimate doesn't look good. I no longer truly remember what it is like to be warm. Perhaps I have never truly been so. The memories seem so fragile. They spin away like dust, like snow. There's only ever been this. Cold that has not been enough mercy to numb. Wind that howls like a pack of wolves on the hunt. And no Deus Ex Machina in sight. I fear this will be my last night. I thought of Maman today. Her strength as she picked me up and flung me in the air. The surety I had that she would catch me once more. I wonder what she would do, tossed out into this stark and barren landscape. Would she grind her fists into her eyes to stop the tears? Would she conjure up sunlight with her bare hands? Maman, if by some strange and wild chance you should come to read of this, tell any other children you meet to avoid valeting. It is, I feel, entirely to blame for this sorry end of mine. Think of me with love, as I am thinking of you now in this endless Arctic night. While I still had strength, I was determined to prove succour to Monsieur Fogg. We had some alcohol in our possession. I brought out the rum and offered him a slug.
Yes.
The liquid trickled between his cracked lips and made him cough darkly, but he seemed to bring a little colour to his cheeks. Have some yourself, he whispered, a voice a mere quaver. I shook my head, wanting a clear head. Insobriety was too tempting a way to escape this desolate place, and I am straight edge for life, replied Passepartout. Monsieur Fogg nearly lost 3 toes to frostbite. I have not been careful enough. I was not conscientious enough. The medic caught it in time, and he will not lose them. As for his life, well, let us instead be thankful for toes. This is a bit of a pisser, to be honest. I thought we'd be done by now. Monsieur Fogg and I have been sleeping curled against each other since the disaster. I tried desperately to press some small warmth into his body. He is unconscious and then delirious. His lucid moments only underscore the wrongness of his delirium. If we survive, I will be satisfied only to see him raise his left eyebrow and comment upon the temperature of the tea.
Wait, Nick, I thought you said that you had done this route before.
The fucking thing didn't fucking explode when I did it.
Oh. Oh, okay.
I was determined to aid Monsieur Fogg. I worked upon the Chief Navigator's guilt for striking me accidentally. A crude, perhaps honourless recourse, but it resulted in a thermos of warm, salty broth that I rationed out to my master in careful sips. There was a strange black streak across the horizon. I can hear the others murmur, "An airship! An airship!" But I do not believe them. I cannot. A collective hallucination from people driven beyond hope, beyond reason, beyond bearing. I do not truly believe it until I see Madame Duhot standing on deck. "Need a ride?" she shouts, her voice familiar and mocking. And I turn to Monsieur Fogg and smile. We are saved. And we continue towards the North Pole, because why wouldn't you?
Yeah, why not?
So, to say what happened then. The injured, Monsieur Fogg included, were whisked away by the medics. We were wrapped in blankets with brisk efficiency and given steaming cups of broth. Madame Yuho stood with an older man in blue samhigakti and reindeer fur coat, their silhouettes framed by the observation windows. How did you find the airship? If Raja had done her duty correctly, you would not be here. Duty? What duty? I was supposed to make sure the expedition did not make it to the North Pole. I adjusted the instruments to push us off course, but I had nothing to do with the wreck. Why would you betray the artificers? I have other allegiances to my people and my family. All of which is moot, Yuho, as you have failed resoundingly. I could not let them die out there, she replied, sounding uncharacteristically chastened. And who are you to say that? Passepartout. This is my father, Ivo Yuho, Sami representative to the Council of Circumpolar Northern Peoples.
Oh.
The CMP, the Great Alliance, will give you loads of startup aid. And loads of trade circles. Madame Yuho looked out the window and took a breath. We have arrived. I looked out the window. A city rose up out of the pale mist, an alchemical dream of glass and copper of bone, and here and there, impossibly lush tangles of trees and shrubs grew on the domes of glittering ice-rimmed glass.
What?
Interconnected tents of reindeer skin and carved whale's bone lined snow-packed streets. Frozen
Holy shit,
rivers
this is awesome.
were arced with delicate bridges of copper and zinc. The heart of the city, a vast, towering structure of steam boilers and copper pipes. Welcome to the North Pole, to the sacred city of Kassetuk. Good gracious, this is rather more exhausting than I anticipated. We are here at the North Pole.
Congratulations.
This, then, is the North Pole. It is a city with streets of carved ice, filled with a mixture of Arctic peoples. Too many in colours and creeds to count. Never before had I seen a place that disregarded the national so completely, as though here in the north the distinctions of longitude truly did not in fact exist. We disembarked in a hobbling procession led by Monsieur Yuho. People watched us as we passed, suspicion and fear in their faces. I kept my head high and proud, not wishing to let the churning discomfort I felt in my guts show on my face. It is not personal. You are the first outsiders to set foot here since the city's founding. A privilege. You mean you are thankful to be alive? Well, you're quite right. I had to beg my father to let you come. I thought you disliked me. Don't. I cannot laugh about it. We will tend to the injured and let you rest tomorrow, for likely you will be called for the council. For judgment. At least, I said half jokingly, at least that's what I told myself. She only let her mouth... She only set her mouth into a thin line and led us silently to a low-roofed tent, hung with carved walrus tusk and polished antlers, no doubt hastily cleared for our arrival. No matter, at least we are alive.
But for how long?
I got fucking none of this when I went to the North Pole. I claimed a bed heaped with furs and blankets and, after being chased from Monsieur Fogg's bedside by a sharp-tongued doctor, I began to scour the city for some means of onwards transport, but there were no roads, no rails, no airship docks. This was a place happy to be disconnected, self-reliant. Food was grown in heated chambers and waste was compacted and then sunk through holes in ice. Surely our long journey would not end here as citizens of a strange new place. I went to ask Madame Yuho for aid. I was not the only one to have this idea. She was in the midst of a heated argument with the chief navigator. I hung back a moment to listen. I thought we were colleagues, friends. You interfered with my instruments. I had a compelling reason. What reason? Just tell me how we may leave this place. I will not do that, but the council will meet. Let them decide your fate and mine. We shall sleep again. The council met against the towering steam boilers in the heart of the city, both literal and figurative. 15 men and women sat in simple chairs of sinew and fur, drawing their authority from the technological marvel which they commanded. The survivors of the expedition were gathered, and I saw familiar faces among them, the chief engineer and pilot jostling, Monsieur Mazensky and his pomo hunters glaring and gaping in equal measure. At the back, Monsieur André, who had reluctantly revealed himself to an irate Madame Yuho. I stood apart with Monsieur Fogg, who was rather irate that the doctors had taken his clothes and garbed him in Sami fashion. I was no artificer and did not want to be taken as one. Monsieur Yuho stood and silence rippled out. He spoke a commanding sentence in... Was that Turkish? I do not understand. And Madame Yuho elbowed me sharply. Pay attention! Can you interpret for me? Turkish, really? Madame Yuho translated the council's words. Kasutuk was founded for one purpose. For the circumpolar peoples to learn and develop technologies of steam and oil and automata, to make them our own before they destroy our homes, our culture, our way of life. A grand plan. A clever plan. We have seen what happened to the Native Americans, to the First Peoples, to the Kazakhs, to the Buryats. Madame Yuho's face was still as carved as stone. It was clear she spoke her own words rather than the councillors. We will not let that happen to us. The council erupted in argument, stealing whatever response I thought to give. What are they arguing about? The council wants to stay isolated and keep all of you prisoner. The shamans are voting with them for a change, but the progressives recently discovered more oil and natural gas in the Barents Sea and are petitioning for the right to hire outside drilling expertise, so they're voting against isolation. And the international unionists have been looking for an excuse to start throwing their weight around. Unionists? Oh yes, they want a nation of circumpolar peoples tying together any lands that fall within the Arctic Circle. We are more Arctic than we are Finnish, or Russian, or Laplander, are we not? What does a Muscovite truly know of winter? Nations are not built of similarity alone. But if they succeed, then we will be at war with half the world. I am too practical to court war. But now, anyway. There was a sudden
Wait,
hubbub.
so Mick, what happened when you went to the North Pole?
I went round the North Pole, nothing exploded, and I came back.
And you didn't have this...
No.
No. Alright.
There was a sudden hubbub. A few tremulous smiles on a few faces. What did the councillor say? Passepartout, I am sorry. What did they say? You will be our guests until the council is ready to announce itself to the world. I demanded the chance to plead our case. For a moment, Madame Yuho considered my words, and then she shook her head. I have seen your tongue in action, Passepartout. I have no doubt you might convince the council to do something against its interests. I will not help you. Not again. A set of guards began herding us back to our lodgings. I threw myself on my pallet. It seemed, was to be the end of our great adventure.
Oh no!
Welp.
It seemed...
I awoke in the semi-dark to find my master shaking my shoulder. Monsieur Fogg. He placed a finger to his lips, and at his unspoken command, I quietly followed him onto the ice-packed streets. We are not staying here, Passepartout. We have a wager to win, and that is our way out, he said, pointing at a pair of dark airships to the east. Shall we commandeer the vessel? We will remain hidden until we are away from Kassatuk, and then we will adjust our plans to emergent circumstances. We will improvise. Quite so. Which airship should we aim for? I scrutinized them both. There was nothing to tell them apart. So should we go for the one on the left, or should we go for the one on the right?
Oh no. This seems like it could go poorly. Flip a
Right
coin.
is right. Right is right.
Alright.
The one on the
Let's
right,
go with
I
right.
said, and felt immeasurably better for having made a decision, however arbitrary. Well then, let us depart.
Imagine if that choice actually matters.
Oh, where the fuck
Narrows
are we
just doing
going?
us all.
Where the fuck are we going?
Guess we should have chosen the one on the left.
Oh my god, where are we going?
Uh-oh. Oh my god.
Oh god,
Well then.
Winnipeg, you idiot! We're literally going to Winnipeg after I mocked it.
Yes.
Yes!
This is what we're doing.
Oh my god.
We stayed another night resting and preparing our escape. Monsieur Fogg and I devised a simple plan to sneak aboard the airship. We pulled our fur hoods down and enjoyed a massive cruise they scurried aboard. Once inside, I found us both worn, if cramped, hiding near the boiler rooms. I breathed a sigh of relief as we felt the airship loose its tethers and take the skies, travelling once more. In the news, Phileas Fogg attempts round-the-world adventure. It's gone a bit wrong.
It's gone just a little bit wrong, yeah.
We were awoken by a series of loud raps against the door of our hiding place. Please come out. We know you're there. I feel like this is something of a comedy playthrough we've gone so far. So what Passepartout attempts to do is attempt to mimic the noise of a groaning rivet joint.
Yes.
Perhaps to suggest this chamber was sealed for sound mechanical reasons, but the voice from outside merely became alarmed. Are you ill? Don't worry, you're safe with us. Monsieur Fogg took matters into his own hands and opened the door. A middle-aged Nenet's woman stood at the head of a small troop of guards. I am Captain Ain Venueto, and you two are aboard my beautiful ship. She is a wondrous vessel indeed, isn't she? She's the most aerodynamic ship we've ever built. The lines of her hull are quite remarkable. Oh, you're really too kind. What, pray, is our destination? We are heading to Winnipeg in Canada. I see no need to alter our course, do you? Canada? We might arrive by day 42 and the thought of our wager being possible returned like a warm glow. Well then, let's get you a proper cabin and a good meal. It's roast seal tonight, and the cook's an absolute marvel with seal. That night I remembered to adjust the pocket watch as we had crossed the international date line and gained ourselves a day.
Yeah!
Yeah.
Fog, what do you know about Winnipeg?
Chris
Home's the
Jericho's from
oldest
there.
woman in the world. Fog knows nothing about Winnipeg, which is unsurprising. Phew.
Imagine if we still managed to win this.
The captain brought out a bottle of acrid spirits. I took a sip, and my throat caught
Take a
fire.
sip. Wait, I thought you were straight edge.
We're not straight edge now.
Oh, okay.
My tongue was entirely blessedly numb. Long thuff, I coughed out. Scattered applause and hoots. So, why are we heading into Canada? You trust the first people? Alright. Should we keep going once we reach Winnipeg? My voice is a bit done. Apparently, that underground city, like, nearly caved in or something. It's all
Oh.
good. The outline of the coast of Hudson Bay loomed grey and barren through the observation windows. We're here already? Our ships are the fastest in the air. Couldn't you just go to London then? Couldn't we steal the ship?
Yes.
Imagine if we'd
do
taken the
it.
right ship and it had, like, actually gone somewhere useful. Rather than fucking Winnipeg.
But we took the right one. You mean the left one?
Yeah, the left one. That's whatever.
What if
I'm
it
not
brought
here
us?
to play semantics.
What if we took the left one and it brought us down like into Russia?
That'd be good. We could
That's-
presumably go west.
I don't know if that would still count.
We'd been around the edge of the North Pole, so you know.
Sure. All right.
We've made it to Winnipeg.
Good.
Right, that could be valuable a lot in Ottawa. We'll buy that and we'll explore.
Oh dear.
It all began when my master and I turned a street corner in Winnipeg and found ourselves directly in the path of a galloping horse with no riders to cook. I prepared to grab the reins as it passed. No doubt the horse had merely been frightened and would respond to a calming touch. As the stallion grew closer, I could see its eyes rolling wildly, lips pulled back to display yellowing teeth and foam dripping from the bridle.
Uh-oh.
I bared my own teeth in
Yes.
response, squaring my shoulders and preparing to intimidate
best
the animal into
answer.
surrender. I was a valet to an English gentleman. It would take more than a crazed iron-hoofed beast to frighten me. I would have no doubt been crushed to a passe-partout paste beneath iron hooves, but thankfully Monsieur Fogg seized me by the collar and dragged me backwards with not a second to spare. Well, that was dramatic. Indeed so, Monsieur. But we were not done yet. Moments later, the ground began to shake, and a cloud of dust and a clatter of hooves resolved into a posse of red-coated mounted policemen. Beg your pardon, gentlemen, you haven't seen a runaway horse go past? How the fuck did you lose
but
a
beast
horse?
from hell.
Alfred is just out of training. I think he's a bit afraid of horses. I gave Alfred an encouraging smile. He turned even redder. Staff Sergeant James McLeod at your service, and you are going around the world, I said reflexively, and then coughed. That is that is to say, my master and I are going around the world.
You are going around the world. That's wonderful.
And we.
Uh-oh.
No, it's just. And you are going around the world.
Yeah.
It's like that's a joke that we've put into it, but no.
No, it's real.
Oh, that's what he actually does.
Yeah.
We plan to make our way to London by any means at hand. What? There's a little known airship hangar at Ivuyavik. Fucking hell. Ivuyavik. Yeah, that was it. Ivuyavik. Where's Ivuyavik? No way can we
Presumably
get an
in
airship
Canada.
from there. We certainly won't be able to afford one. Where do you think we should be going?
We'd just go to Ottawa, sell that thing, go to New York. A little expensive though. We will have to wait for.
It's actually cheaper to go to New York than Ottawa on the same line. We could chance it. We could take the car to Ivuyavik.
Good. That's true. Just do something totally bonkers.
I mean, look how fucked we are already.
We do have a lot of time.
That's fine, we
So-
don't have money though.
It's true.
Let's go to a hotel and shine some shoes. I ran a few errands for the hotelier and earned £100. Come on, we've got to go to Ivuyavik. Because, you know,
Yeah, alright.
what could go wrong? We're driving a car there. It is across a sea.
That. I mean, I
There
don't
are
see
no
why
rails
it's a
across
problem.
these lands, nor airships. There was only one way to travel. She slapped the
Oh,
bonnet of
we're-
a steaming
We're gonna
metal
lose a
wheeled
lot
car.
of. We're gonna
Good
lose a lot of
luck.
help.
I was reassured by the many other passengers. Surely would not all prove to be fucking idiots. Madam Johnson. It's just a passing place for airships. We can probably go to Reykjavik. Right, I'm fairly confident we can go to Reykjavik.
Get to Reykjavik and we've run out of money.
Ah, it'll be fine. We'll swim from there.
Yeah, alright.
We've been in colder oceans. So we were a mixed party of fur traders. And the leader was a devoutly Christian Cree woman, who is Mary Johnson, who insisted on prayers before every meal, even though many of our band did not share her faith. I bent my head obediently and murmured my own prayers. I was hoping for, you know, some quality rub-a-dub-dub thanks for the grub, but
Right,
no,
right.
Pass me
Nope.
to is a better man. The car engines had to be scraped and de-iced. This isn't very futuristic or steampunk. This is just what... Nero's car especially. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Worst I've ever seen for de-icing. It's Nero that's taking this. Nero's Mary Johnson.
It very well could be.
What?
Hey, Mary.
Have
Nope,
I missed
okay.
something?
Oh no! They were just saying that the cars had to be de-iced, and so Mick made a joke about
Alright.
your car.
That's the comedy you stick around these streams for. So we left without delay.
Have breakfast?
We could always have second breakfast.
It's true.
So we're not stopping at Winnisk. We boarded a heavy freight canoe a makeshift combustion engine, and
A
straight
steampunk canoe?
across the Hudson Bay.
Oh, this thing looks pretty cool.
It jagged to the left suddenly, the navigator shouting, "Ice flow!"
Oh no.
I trusted to my balance and agility.
Fog.
Oh no.
Are we...
I heard Monsieur Fogg take one sharp indrawn breath and with slow, crawling horror saw his top hat jerk from the top of his head and catch the wind.
Oh no.
Within seconds, it would be out of his grasp and plunged into the churning water of the bay. I launched myself at the article of millinery, with a bellow determined it would not meet a watery grave. Alas, I was foiled by one of the trapper's feet, which he had inconsiderately placed in the way of my heroic leap. I tripped and fell, ending up with a face full of beaver pelt and a rather bruised ego. My master gave me a look of dubious approbation, and we turned off the engine and watched Monsieur Fogg's top hat sink beneath the waves with all due solemnity.
Oh
I
dear.
felt
Aw.
my reputation as a valet sink inexorably alongside it. Thankfully, the remainder of our journey to Reykjavik passed without particular incident.
Our relations with Fog strengthened slightly.
At least there's a bank here. Fucking hell.
Oh, good.
It is a well-known fact that a traveller in search of advice would be well served to head to the nearest bar, and mes amis, that is exactly what I did as the evening rolled round. I drank shots of homebrew liquor with a Dutch sailor who was mourning the loss of his third finger to frostbite. "Guys, I've got 7 left, I suppose," he said, with admirable aplomb. The bartender was an older woman with dark eyes and an easy, charming confidence. "You to town, are you?" "I'm going round the world," I announced, perhaps a bit more loudly than I had intended.
I love how that's like a real thing.
A few ragged cheers went up, and one of the
Yay.
bartender's eyebrows winged upwards. She's not only the bartender, but the comptroller of the local airship hangar. The next airship's out to Reykjavik. Just tell them OPIC sent you and they'll find you a berth, if you can afford it. I had a drink to celebrate. Oh no, I didn't. I flirted with OPIC for the rest of the evening, and she
Oh.
rebuffed me gently at every turn.
Oh,
Ah,
no.
Passepartout, if only I were 10 years younger. Age is but a number, I told her, raising my brows. OPIC laughed again, light and free, and walked away into the chill ice-edged night. What a town, mes amis, what a woman. How much is this
Good.
airship to Reykjavik? Fucking hell, we have to stop off at Greenland as well.
Oh, good.
What? Because we flirted? £25.
What?
Yeah!
All the way to Reykjavik?
All the way to Reykjavik, £25.
That's amazing.
Oh,
But does Reykjavik have a bank? What if we don't have enough to get to anywhere?
We're going to have enough. 1,500 is going to be enough to get to London from Reykjavik. There's a route
Okay.
direct there.
All right.
Oh, there's
All
not a
right,
market,
let's-
so we're not
let's
going to
do
do
it.
anything. We are just going to go straight to Reykjavik.
Space for 10 suitcases.
So we're going to pick up stuff from Greenland on the way. Any chance of bears? Polar bears, yes. Zuta law, the indignities I suffered upon this helter-skelter journey. Right, we really need to see to Fogg on this journey because he wasn't good to begin with, and this is a dodgy one. So there's a massive blizzard. I felt the airship was a safer haven. The pilot's aim was true, and through a combination of skill, practice and luck, the airship's hook caught on the tether. The outpost itself is a barren and cheerless place, apparently manned by a single person. What's the place called? Who knows? Who'd bother giving it a name apart from the game? It makes it even more grim to leave it nameless. It is not fit to be home. Oh! I should have been reading this.
What?
Nobody lives here. It's not fit to be someone's home. The pilot muttered. It's just a stop on the way to somewhere. Even if you're the poor bastard who's hired to stop here for half a year. Speaking of which, the pilot opened an inner door and gestured me for enter.
Oh no.
You wish for me to go alone? I asked, unaccountably nervous. He doesn't like our sort muddying up the place. Better to introduce yourself on your own, right? I did as I was asked, entering to the room where I saw the outline of a man lit by the glow of a bank of instruments. It was none other than the artificer, Viti Jokinen, whom I befriended on our expedition to the North Pole. Viti!
Hey!
Passepartout! What in the world are you doing here? I could ask the same of you, though we are only stopping here briefly to refuel, unlike you. It was cowardice that brought me here. I blamed myself for the Ice Walker's crash. I wished to run away from my guilt, but clearly I did not run far enough, for here you are. You are not to blame. Your guilt is misplaced. Time and solitude have helped me untangle myself. I am truly glad to see you. And with that, he invited me in to share a cup of tea, and we spent a surprisingly pleasant few hours in conversations as the crew gathered the carefully recorded data and refueled the airship.
Well, I'm glad we went along this route.
We set off on the meteorological airship once more. Viti came to watch our airship depart. Good luck, Passepartout, he shouted. My response was likely stolen by the wind and snow. I watched his thickly mittened hands waving goodbye till they disappeared into the blizzard. Captain, what do you know about Reykjavik? Particularly Reykjavik to Snowdon, you never know. We drifted across the top of the world in relative silence. Below, wars were fought, hearts broken, curses uttered, lives began and ended, but all we saw were the cresting waves and the endless drifting ice. I tried to iron my master's shirts, but I could not get the iron hot enough for long enough. My master paced the narrow decks and said nothing. After so long, we were all but home. How small London would seem when we finally arrived, now that we had seen the world from this lofty height. We might have to wait for fog to be well enough to get to London. The weather cleared as we neared our destination. The water of the Faxafloy Bay shone an impossibly bright blue underneath us as the low, colourful buildings of Reykjavik swept across the curve of the shoreline. The past days of tumult and blizzard seemed almost a dream. There is a bank here.
Oh good, so just in case.
We essentially can't lose, surely. Reykjavik was a quiet town with few inhabitants, but still had the feeling of a bustling centre of commerce. The flag of the Kingdom of Denmark fluttered above the trade hall, declaring this place an outpost, but of all the outpost colonies and adjuncts of the great nation we had seen, it seemed the most comfortable in its skin. This comfort most likely derived from the natural hot... I've genuinely been to the hot springs in Iceland. It's quite cool. Or warm, actually. It's not cool at all. That's not the point. It's not. You don't go to be cool. You go to be warm. These terrible Arctic plains seem suddenly 1,000 years away. They should fit these at Hyde Park.
What?
I think in London they would require coal, but in London there are better uses. I do believe it was the first time I heard him say, even in a roundabout fashion, that any place had its own elements of value. We were firmly back into our adventure once more, but I confess to feeling somewhat uncomfortable with our circumnavigation. Monsieur Fogg seemed quite untroubled. I was extremely cautious with the terms of my wager. Had the men in the Reform Club been of a more ambitious sort, they might even have realised the polar journey was intended. Would that I had realised I might have ensured that we'd lost our passports in Paris. A new route has been discovered from Reykjavik to London. We can leave today, having extra space for £660 on the Silver Seal. It was a Gaelic imported from the Ottoman Empire. How long will it take? 3 days, can't be done any faster, that's acceptable. We're on our way home.
This is a pretty cool airship.
I think it is a boat, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought it was a boat.
Why does it have it look like
It's an amphibious boat, I'm pretty
copters?
sure. The ocean tore
okay.
along beneath us.
Alright.
I enjoyed talking to no one. There was nothing I needed to know. There was only the wind and the time, and we could control neither. Passepartout, make us go faster if you would. I went to the boiler attendant. Fast, you say? It can be done, but it would destroy the engines. Do
Uh-oh. No, what are you doing?
it. No,
You
the only
fool.
option is we want no risk, no danger. Monsieur Fogg looked out the observation deck windows with perfect calm. There was no reason to be concerned. We were well within the 80-day window. I embarked on the ironing, which is a great solace to an uneasy soul. See? Got 2 achievements for that. One for arriving back within 60 days, one for using no banks. Imagine if we hadn't used hotels. We'd be dead.
Yeah, we'd be dead.
Let's return.
We'd be super dead.
I seized my master by the collar and threw him into one of the steam carriages idling on the banks of the Serpentine in Hyde Park. There is no need for such unseemly haste, Passepartout, but I was a man possessed. Oh, we didn't get a chance to steal
You
the
didn't
carriage.
get a chance to steal the carriage.
I was looking forward to that.
Oh no.
Where my master's erstwhile friends stood from their chairs, gaping in an attitude of great shock. Gentlemen, here I am. And I staggered to the nearest chair and collapsed heavily into it, my hands shaking. I realised the lowest spell had suddenly been broken, that my master had won his wager of £20,000. We actually made more money this time.
Yeah.
I saw for the first time the crowds had forced their way in. And you must be the loyal valet Passepartout. Ah, madam, you have a sharp eye, for indeed I am. All of London has been feverishly following Phileas Fogg's progress. You don't want to say that quickly in the papers. Your master will be tomorrow's headline, or I'll eat my hat. It is a fine hat, I agreed. Then I'll be glad not to have to eat it. You have won the bet, monsieur.
Ha ha ha.
As though saying it aloud, and seized my master by the hand and shook it, as though we were 2 equals and not merely a master and servant. I thank you for your service as my valet, Passepartout. Though you did not perform your duties with particular skill, you were not particularly incompetent either. Steady mediocrity is a quality I admire in a servant.
Excellent.
What next for the great adventure of Phileas Fogg and his loyal valet Passepartout? My master looked at me, and I laughed like a maniac. Perhaps we should do it again, I declared, but this time going the long way. Anyone care to take a wager? Your round-the-world journey is complete. Hog returns with time to spare. Journey completed in 51 days, despite Reykjavik's diversion, nights of rough sleeping, and the near-fatal polar expedition. But you know, that's not a headline. There we go, that is our round-the-world trip. The beautiful equilateral triangle.
That went better than it seemed like it was going to.
We left the pole 12 days in and arrived on day 38. Again, we're polished, flamboyant, but with sound valeting this time. We are nothing if not polished. I reckon we could have avoided that disaster if we'd figured out what was doing the thing we do.
Wait, how do you avoid the disaster?
By working out what was going wrong or something, I don't know.
Oh, maybe.
So there we go, we've gone around the world in less than 80 days, twice in a row.
Wow.
We have not once visited Africa, we haven't really gone to South America. We haven't visited Japan.
China, really.
We haven't really gone across the face of North America. We have visited the Caribbean.
No, I feel like next time if we do this again, we should do Trans-Siberian and then across states.
Trans-Siberian, then Yokohama, Honolulu,
That
San
sounds like a good
Francisco.
trip.
Next time, South Pole.
Oh no.
I wonder
Something
if you
tells
could
me
actually
you can't do
get
that,
there.
but
I don't think you can.
it'd be funny if you could do a polar, navigation. Like if you went down to the South Pole, instead of going up to the North Pole.
I kind of knew the North Pole was an option from yesterday when I was looking at the game on the Google Store because it was talking about the North Pole had been added or something. I wasn't sure if it was part of the main game that you could do it or if it was a separate option.
Oh, I don't see any cities down there at the South Pole. Fortunate.
So I think there's different seeds. So it might be that in this game there isn't a big city at the North Pole. So it's obviously some things are fairly much the same, the last journey coming back was always going to be the same.
Okay. Oh,
Because
that's
we got
cool.
the exact same conversations, etc. We
Yeah.
always have to
Yeah.
depart to Paris. But from there it's
Wait, so when you went to the North Pole, did they just get there to the crazy city and then
that's why. No, there wasn't a city either.
there wasn't a city?
I don't remember. I don't remember a city. I
Then we
remember
got,
getting there and coming back.
Punk
It was
Paradise
very
City.
quick. I think we will leave 80 days there
Yeah, I think so
for
too.
now. Until another time. But yeah, I've genuinely have a bunch of choose your own adventure games on my account, in order to do streams like that.
Yeah, that was fun. For us, at least.
It's but that is easily the best choose your own adventure game I have. I just
I
didn't know
mean-
it was on Steam until yesterday.
The writing is pretty good.
Stop